What is going on, Sphere Finance? Let me know in the chat. I need to see how freaking hyped you are right now. We got 1,000 people watching right now. What is happening? You guys are just destroying this chat. Let's see, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now how crazy this AMA is about to be. If it's under 3,000, I mean it's FUD. If it's under 3,000, we got to build this chat up. Make sure you go to my Twitter, explode this stream. I want everybody in the YouTube to know what the heck is going on. Without further ado, let's bring on everybody from its team and just Jesse in general, right? I don't know if he is officially part of the team. I don't think he is, but here we got Sim. Sim just crashed it. Sim just crashed restream.
Wait, what?
Come on, Sim. Get in here.
Can't you hear me? You messing with me?
Oh.
Hello?
I can hear you.
I hear
you. Can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's Austin.
You guys are crashing YouTube.
I think we crashed Austin. Let me see if I can hear myself.
Somebody messaged
Yeah,
in.
okay. Yeah, yes, we hear Sim.
Okay, just Austin can't hear us. This is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
1 second, guys.
Yeah,
he's not bringing people to stage here.
What can we say when Austin can't hear us?
Yeah, Austin is the top 20 holders, all of them.
All of them. He holds all top 20
He's the
slots.
ultra mega whale.
The megalodon whale.
Austin's
what's
lagging.
up, guys? How you doing, everyone? I'm seeing the chat, like everyone is writing, y'all crazy. It's unfreaking real. It's unreal. What is Jesse doing here, being sexy on the big stage?
I will answer that though. Sim asked me to come along to just kind of help him, just because we got some chemistry. But I'm not, like Austin was joking, I'm not actually in any way associated with the Sphere team. I just really like 100%. Sim and I really like Geo. So
yeah, no, Jesse is just a very dear friend of ours, not affiliated with Sphere in any capacities. Yeah, he actually. Man, people are y'all freaking weird.
Jesse,
get me a taste of the soap, daddy. Yeah, man, what the hell?
Well, can some of you guys? Can you guys say in the comments that you can hear us, but that he just can't?
No, he even froze. So
yeah, they said Austin broke. I see comments that say he's frozen. So
okay, well, let's continue on without him until he comes back into it, and then Sim, why don't you start us out, and then I'll throw in the private chat that we can hear. Everyone can hear us.
Awesome. What's up, Sphereans? Let's get started. Leave some love in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a wild ride so far, but what I want to say from the beginning is we're going to melt faces. Everyone knows that phrase now already. And yeah, today is a very, very exciting AMA. So yeah, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just want to talk and recap the past week. Just throwing out some numbers, stuff like that. We reached a new all-time high of over 10 cents. We almost broke 11 cents, which is unreal. Our market cap is currently standing at $255 million, almost $256 million. Our liquidity pool. I'm laughing because of these numbers. They're so crazily big. Man, the community is insane. It's crazy. It's awesome. Yeah, so we increased to almost $50 million liquidity pool. If you guys see yesterday, shout out to Make DeFi Better, the project that is launching on Binance, they put 100K, and I looked at the chart, and the chart didn't go up nor down, right? Even though it was like $100,000 purchase. So the liquidity pool is getting very, very, very deep, which means price impact isn't as big now, which is crazy. And of course, the tokenomics work, right? Within a week, and we have to keep in mind we were sitting at I think around 7-8 million liquidity pool. Now we are sitting at a 64% increase. Every time I calculate how much bigger we become, I can't fathom it. Yeah, things are going very, very smooth. One more thing, I gotta get a special guest as well for the last part of our AMA. Let me.
Can you hear me now, Sim? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can
All
hear you.
right.
Yep.
Okay, sweet. Y'all broke my streaming service. I don't know what happened.
There's a lot of us on here.
Yeah, we were three big boys next to you.
That's crazy. Because I was having green bars and everything, and all of a sudden I seen the chat like explode, and I couldn't even add people to the stage. I don't know what the heck was happening. Heck yeah, man. Hey, that's the best way to black out, though, right?
Yeah, that is like the best thing. And then when your camera shuts down randomly, right? That is going to be the second best.
Oh, it'll
thing,
happen.
Right?
It'll happen.
It will happen. 100%. 100%. Yeah. So we are sitting at yeah. We had a roughly all-time high in terms of volume of almost $9 million, I guess, if I remember that correctly. Currently, our volume is sitting at roughly $5.6 million within the last 24 hours. That is an increase of roughly 135,000%.
Wait. Did you say?
Sorry.
Did you say 5.3 million?
5.6 million right now.
5.6 million? Dang.
Yes, sir. It's a lot, and to say the least, roughly $728,000 into our treasury. Very, very conservative numbers. If you don't, we just calculate in the buys. So you take 5.6 million and multiply that by 13% to get the least amount of realized gains. For the treasury is it's crazy. Yeah. That is an increase of roughly 135% in daily volume since our last announcement. We had way more, days where we exceeded even more.
And I was gonna say, I see some people over here in the comments, like I don't think they're quite understanding. So all the things that Sim's explaining, this is showing the health of the protocol. So when you have a lot of liquidity, that just means that one person can't affect the price. If you have a low amount of liquidity and one person sells a lot of Sphere tokens, that could crash the price or skyrocket the price, like either way. And the more liquidity you have, the safer and the healthier the protocol is. And same thing with the volume. You want to see a lot of volume because that means that the project is there's a lot of people involved. It's not just a handful of people. And so when he's saying $5.6 million, that's a lot. That's a lot of volume going on. And so he's just going over like, look at the health of the protocol and look how far we've come. This all shows that like you guys all use price to show that, oh, look at how healthy it is. But these are all the other metrics that show like, geez, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
nice,
Sim,
nice.
before before my computer just went crazy here, did you go over what we're going to be talking about today, or would you like for me to introduce?
Not
all
yet.
the
I'm just recapping the past week. I'm just throwing numbers to show the health. So our treasury increased by 60% to almost $22 million, and the event horizon currently has burned roughly 7 million Sphere. This already accounts to being the 22nd biggest wallet or 21st biggest wallet in the project right now, accumulating tokens. Also, currently Sphere is the only one that actually takes tokens out of circulation and burns them directly. And yeah, we are currently sitting at 30,000, almost 31,000 orders. And on top of that, we had a little charity accumulation with the community, where I pledged in $10,000 worth of Sphere, and we wanted to raise 50,000. Now we're almost sitting at 100,000 thanks to the price appreciation. Yeah, man, the community is changing lives. The protocol is already changing lives. I'm shivering. Yeah. Love to each and everyone. It's amazing, man.
I mean, I say this.
I,
What is it, Sam?
I just want to say I never was as fulfilled in my life as I am now, thanks to Sphere. It's crazy how much the community, how much we have changed, the positive comments, all the good vibes. When we even have the channel, the channel on Discord, where people talk about how Sphere changed their lives, right? It's it's a blessing to say the least. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Make sure you guys go listen to Beniata and go like the video for the algorithm. Absolutely. Let's blow this up. And one thing to add to that, Sim, is I love telling people this, right? Is people don't truly understand that although the Sphere games and the benefits that it provides to the protocol and stuff like that, literally, even if you just say, like, I mean, there's people like the prize keeps going up for just every single person. Like, I think last time it was like what, $16,000 for each winner. The games are literally changing people's lives every day, every 3 days, every interval that the Sphere Games has. Like, you never know where the person in the world could. I mean, $16,000 in one country could be worth, that could be like,
Millions,
I mean, yeah, that could be like that could be like getting millions here in America. I'm here in America, and it's crazy to even think about that. So I try to tell people, because we get so sensitized to just all these high numbers and high APYs, but even just 16 grand, 20 grand, 10 grand. I mean, that's crazy that this project is truly not just sitting here hyping this up and being a moon boy, but truly changing people's lives every interval of just the Sphere games alone. Not even talking about the passive income, the rebate, the rewards that we're getting every 30 minutes is.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Let's get started. We already.
Yes, sir.
You want me to talk about the agendas first, or should I just start a topic piece by piece?
Let's let them know, just so that everybody knows what to expect, and obviously this will just make them go even more crazy. Let's let them know every topic we're going to be talking about today.
Okay. Yeah, we had the introductions, we had the Sphere stats. Now the next topic is going to be Perpetual APY, then Kinetic bonding, Dystopia and Penrose, and then we will have a few questions that we're going to answer. All right. Okay, let's talk about Perpetual APY. For that to understand, we have to look on how the two current APY models work. Olympus's model works with a runway where the APY emissions are actually, factored in. How long can I sustain, or how long can I print tokens until 1 ohm equals 1 DAI, right? That is the APY of ohm. Currently, Sphere's APY with the fixed APY is currently setting a number, and no matter how the how the market condition is, it's going to mint new tokens every 30 minutes, right? And that accumulates to 99,100% right now. So the issue with that is, of course, if the protocol, has a lot of price influx, or less tokens, or big sell impact, the protocol really doesn't care what is happening, right, with that fixed APY. Now we want to change that, and for that I gotta share my Clacky. I gotta draw something.
Oh, this wouldn't be a real AMA unless we had some sim drawings.
Yeah, I wanted to first create some designs and ask my designers to create images, but through the rehearsal, I received like 99% people are saying like, no, you have to create Clacky. You have to draw, because that is, what sim does, right? I wanted to create cool images, but yeah. So right now we take this perfect circle, right, and we look at this as how much the Treasury makes in a year, right? And for simplicity's sake, we say the Treasury makes $1 million. So what we want to do is, let's say there's two people. Well, say this is half and half. Two people are sitting in there, both put in $1,000, and the Treasury makes $1 million. So what the Treasury or the protocol does is emit $500,000 worth of tokens each, So, everyone receives the amount of money that they should receive, right? Because of the Treasury investments. Now, with a fixed APY, the problem is right now that, as the emissions happen and we say we have $1 million of tokens, both receive 500K. But what happens if two more come with a fixed APY? Everyone receives 500K, which doesn't work, right? Because you can't create money out of thin air. So basically, everyone is not receiving $500,000, but $250,000. But the problem, what happens and what arises now is that the price, let's say the price is at 5 cents, the price actually, because you have double the amount of tokens, the price maybe goes up for some time, but because of the APY and the fixed APY, it goes down by half, and the 5 cents, the token per 5 cents become 2.5 cents. Now, the issue with that, of course, is also because the price goes down, indefinitely because of the inflation. The market doesn't really care about the protocol in a sense. Now, what Sphere wants to change and what we want to introduce is the third system, the third way of having an APY. It is, instead of fixed to a number or fixed to a price, we want to fix our APY to a day or a day duration. We want to have our APY to be sustainable at any given time to 365 days. That means now that the APY, and this is, you have to, it's big, but what that basically means is that the APY is going to be always sustainable and will always be dynamically adjusted to what the market currently says about the project. So, for example, we have a lot of buy pressure coming into the protocol. A lot of people are buying the tokens. There is no point of you, printing many tokens because the value of the protocol increases because of the buy pressure, right? Now, the other issue is when you have a lot of sell pressure, and that is the beautiful part is, let's say we are still sitting at $1 million, right, of annual income, and let's say one person leaves, right? That basically means it's not $250,000 each, but it's rather, $333,000 each. And that basically means we can increase the APY as more people sell, and we can decrease the APY because we have this big pie, right? Because we can't create money out of thin air. We adjust the APY based on the market condition. To repeat again, a high buy pressure, a lot of people buying, means we don't need to print as many tokens to not dilute the protocol and make the protocol become less worth in a sense. And when there's a lot of sell pressure, because the Treasury is making so much money thanks to QLAS, quantum liquidity as a service, thanks to the burning mechanisms that is in place, you can actually give more and more people part of the Treasury instead of having less people, having the Treasury. I hope I explained that fine.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of people in the chat, Sim. They said we need the Jesse translation stat.
I was laughing at some of these comments over here about your drawing.
It's a peach. People say.
Basically, what Sim is saying is that there's a lot of people that have looked at Sphere essentially as like a degen play. They've looked at it as something that's a short-term investment and they can make maybe a lot of money in for the short term, but for the long term, they think, maybe it's going to crash because, all the high APY projects do. And if you're not familiar, if you've never been in a high APY project, they all end up crashing. Eventually, that APY causes inflation, which causes pressure on the price, and the price ends up plummeting. There's not a project that hasn't happened to, okay, that has a high APY. And so there's a reality that if you have a really high APY, you have to come up with some sort of solution. It's really good when you launch a project, right? Because it attracts a ton of investors. It gets people involved and it rewards early adopters, the people kind of like you guys, right? But over the long term, if you want a project to be sustainable, you have to adjust. And nobody has really been able to figure out this formula well. And what Sim has come up with is something called Perpetual APY, which is basically what it means is once Perpetual APY rolls out, you won't have to worry about the APY being unsustainable ever again. The APY will automatically adjust to always be sustainable. And I don't even, have you gone into, I feel like you haven't really gone into detail about the way that the Treasury, can you talk about how the Treasury affects the APY, the revenue affects the APY?
Yeah, so basically, since we are currently building all these different revenue streams, right? Quantum liquidity as a service, Dystopia, Penrose that are going to be a part of the conversation later, and a lot of different new utility projects that are going to be incubated into Sphere's protocol. Also, our partnership with Tattoo that is also, bringing us revenue thanks to our investment strategies, means that our treasury is building and growing over time. So let's say today we had roughly an influx of give or take $700,000. Was it that? Let me look at the bot. $719,000. So basically, that is actually what is fueling the treasury.
Exactly. So essentially, what he's saying, and this is, you got to understand, this is revolution. Okay, big picture. What Sim's saying is where some of you guys might have thought Sphere is like $100 million to a $500 million project. That is not what Sim's going for. He wants it to be a $30 billion to $100 billion project. He wants Wall Street to be involved with Sphere. He wants to see big time investors involved with Sphere. And that's not going to happen if Sphere is a garbage project, which it would be if it maintained that APY for a long period of time, because it would inflate and then crash. And so now the APY is 100% sustainable. It is not causing inflation anymore. There is no inflation from the APY. It is still printing tokens, but there's no price inflation. What that means is, because the APY is basically, the APY is fully backed by the revenue from the protocol. So if there's APY, it's backed by the revenue. So there's really nothing to compare it to, because there's nothing out there that's like it. It's kind of I think the next evolution of what DeFi and crypto is going to be, because most crypto projects right now, or crypto tokens, are backed by nothing. And now Sphere is backed by its revenue. And so, and not only that, but okay, there's another thing, which is the event horizon. And we talked about this yesterday, Sim. The event horizon, because it's slowly burning tokens, Sphere tokens, that means that Sphere's price-wise is actually deflationary. That means that even if nobody buys, over time, the price of Sphere should still go up because of the event. Well, actually, that's not true, because people would have to buy and sell for the event horizon. But essentially, if you had equal buying and selling, pressure, that would still cause the price to go up because of the event horizon, slowly making it deflationary. And I know even probably a lot of you guys don't even know what inflationary and deflationary is, but basically inflationary means at some point the project will crash. Deflationary means you have forced depreciation. That means the price slowly goes up over time.
Exactly. And to put this into perspective, how powerful that is, especially considering, let's say, the treasury, the protocol doesn't generate any sort of revenue, right? Let's say the protocol stays stagnant right now, right? The protocol doesn't move, doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there, stagnant. How often did I say that now? Because I had to pull up a new tab. Yeah, let's look at the Sphere chart for a second. There, can you share my screen, please, Austin?
There we go.
So we are looking right now at Sphere, right? And because, like I said, revenue is very, very important. And we have Pranja here from Tattoo, of course. Very, welcome to him, because he wasn't here at the very beginning. We can look at here at the pool W-matic. Let's say, for simplicity's sake, no one buys, no one sells, and they're base stopped. Okay, so the price is 10.29 right now, and we have a pool W-matic worth of 7.1 million. Right? Let's say everything stays as it is, and we jump a year. What happens now, thanks to my voice cracked. What happens now over the span of the year, and why quantum liquidity as a service is so revolutionary, is that, let's say we sit at a very, very conservative amount of 10% APY in our W-matic, and how liquidity pools work is basically, the more W-matic you have, the higher the price of Sphere goes. The more Sphere you put into the pool, aka selling, the lower the price becomes. But now, thanks to quantum liquidity, we take that W-matic out of the liquidity pool. It's still there, hypothetically, if someone wants to buy and sell. The protocol still has that on hand, but in the meantime, when nothing happens, our quantum liquidity as a service is going to use that 7.1 million dollars and start farming that, right, through big companies. So it's not like you're a random farm, but like really really big organizations, let's say as big as Aave, Balancer, like the biggest of the biggest projects basically, right? And let's say we're going to going for 10%. That basically means that Sphere created a revenue stream that there was literally no revenue stream before. This is something entirely new, that we partnered with Tattoo to create this, that literally makes $710,000 of quote unquote on a stagnant asset that do anything before. And because we are generating 10% on our W-matic in increase, the price of Sphere goes up by 10%. So even if there's nothing happening with the protocol, slowly but surely the price of Sphere is starting to climb up and up and up again. And that also of course factors into Perpetual APY, because the price goes up, you don't need to print as many tokens because the price appreciation is automatically there already, right? Then there's of course also Penrose and Dystopia and all these different other projects that we cannot say yet, that are going to bring also more revenue towards the Sphere ecosystem, which will then also aid to Perpetual APY to be sustainable for 365 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got a couple people I saw in the comments were asking, is the revenue from buy and sell taxes? No, the revenue for Sphere, that is like, that plays into the treasury for sure. But just Sim just explained it, that you have revenue coming from quantum liquidity. And because the way that quantum liquidity is set up, it creates more volume on the protocol. And so you have an ever scaling price floor. So quantum liquidity scales up the price on its own. Plus you have the deflationary effect from the event horizon. You do have the buy and sell taxes, but then you have all the other things that Sphere is doing to bring in profits and bring in revenue. You have quantum liquidity as a service. And then you have, them buying up governance rights and launching their own protocols. Like I don't want to say something I'm not supposed to say, but you've talked about Tattoo pretty in depth, right?
Yeah. Shout out to that.
So how they bought up the rights to Tattoo, and then they're building products off of that. And this wouldn't just work if some random person's like, hey, I have this idea, I'm going to do this. You got to have a team that's the strategic and well connected, like what Sim's doing. So Sim, you're investing into Sim's ability to strategize and mastermind this whole thing, which, as you're going to see as he unveils some things about Penrose, Dystopia, and kinetic bonding, it's literally insane. Like, especially look at what's being done with Perpetual API. APY. Look at what's being done with quantum liquidity and these things that it's like innovation after innovation after innovation, and all of these things can be turned into products that are sold or that are utilized by other protocols, and then those protocols bring in revenue as well into the Sphere ecosystem. So imagine Sphere is like the center, and then all these other projects are pouring in revenue into Sphere. And that's where the revenue is coming from. It's not just coming from within, investors. There doesn't even have to be investors for new revenue to come in. And that's the beauty of Perpetual APY, is you're scaling as the protocol and as the ecosystem as a whole scales.
Exactly. So basically what that means, Sphere becomes this protocol that is basically working B2B. So we're going to have quantum liquidity as a service where Sphere actually scales with other projects as well. So all these other projects are going to be having this trading volume, and Sphere is getting part of that trading volume, right? Maybe I should open the chart for quantum liquidity as a service, just to show that the amount of the different dividend acquisitions, well, not dividends, but rewards that we get from all these other projects. I think that would be quite interesting for the users to see how we are building. And that is the most important thing, right? What I should have said in the beginning is you have to look at projects when you want to invest into a project, right? When you want to invest into a project, what can that project do that I can't do myself, right? If the project says, okay, you're going to invest into us and then we're going to take your money and, stablecoin farm with it, then that is not a project you want to invest into, because this is something you can do with your own stablecoins without the risk of, the fluctuations of the protocol, right? So if you want to invest into a project, this project has to fix a problem, right? Or has to offer you a solution that you can actually utilize, if that makes sense. So yeah, just to show into perspective what that means, Austin, can you?
Gotcha, man.
Thank you, appreciate it. So for here, right, since we are doing this with Tattoo, let's say project Y, whatever project comes in, we take, of course, we're cutting a deal with that project, and what that project does is basically giving, their native token towards Sphere's Treasury as a premium service that we have, Sphere's/Tattoo's Treasury to be exact, and they put in their native token, and that basically means our project automatically has skin in the game with these other protocols. Now that basically means if the other project succeeds and let's say does 100x like Sphere did, our treasury will make 100x alongside them. This is, of course, a risk that we are taking, and not every project is going to use quantum liquidity as a service. They have to be vetted, and for example, we have the Obsidian Council. We are working very, very close with them on having high quality projects come with quantum liquidity as a service, where we try to utilize the influence of Obsidian and try to have synergies within the communities that Obsidian offers, right? Obsidian offers community as a service, right? And we are utilizing that by actually getting the communities, these different protocols, to work with Sphere, and we are providing them a service. So basically what happens is that these high quality projects that come from Obsidian, for example, come and put in their native token into Sphere's treasury, and we then enable them quantum liquidity. Now what happens is, of course, all these projects are going to use that, because if you don't use quantum liquidity, you are losing out on money, basically, since that is, no one used it before because it wasn't there before. And I saw a few people saying, okay, this is similar to what Ravi and Fuse does, but what Ravi and Fuse do, they take the LP token and, farm with it. But what we do is we take the underlying asset of the liquidity pool. And now that project is creating artificial volume and artificially making money, even if no one buys or sells. So, it's creating deep liquidity over time by itself. Of course, now we want to, of course, have, the dividends from these projects by having them, their community, buy and sell the tokens. And that is how the DEX makes money, right? If you look at, let's say, QuickSwap, Uniswap, Pancakes, or whatever, you see that there's a little DEX fee that you have to pay for every swap, roughly 0.3% if you want to go back, when you swap between two tokens. So basically, these 0.3%, roughly 0.2 goes to the project, and 0.1 then goes to the ex-Tattoo shareholder, which is Sphere, where Sphere is the biggest, and we receive passive income basically from the project's volume. So basically, as other projects utilize quantum liquidity, Sphere is making a buckload of money. And this is why quantum liquidity is so, massive. It's basically Sphere's making, it's incubating projects. We are taking their native token. We are going to, to be having that risk of course, the project may be going to 0 or go to 100x, 110x, who knows? So we scale with that protocol. And on top of that, of course, we are making money from the volume at the same time. So it's a passive income strategy that is unique to Sphere and Tattoo, of course, because, we're working with Tattoo. So this is something, no one else has in the entire space. And that is why everyone is going to come to Sphere, because otherwise you can say, you can talk to that project and say, why don't you make money, right? Because it's mind-boggling not to do so. Yeah. Did that make sense? Austin, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my bad. So I have a couple reoccurring questions here in the chat about Perpetual APY. If you want to answer those, they're pretty. I keep seeing them consistently.
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is now obviously we had projects like Wonderland and stuff like that, but also other projects similar to that. What's the main difference that a lot of people are wanting to know? What is the main difference between this model and projects like Wonderland with that ever adjusting APY and stuff like that?
Yeah. So the idea of Wonderland and Olympus and all them, their APY is not based on the Treasury. The APY basically says we are emissioning tokens until our token becomes worth the backing asset. So Ohm is backed by one DAI, correct? Wonderland is backed, the time token is backed to $1, to 1 mim, sorry. So the APY there is basically done, the APY is basically saying, okay, I can go for so long until we hit that quote unquote goal of $1. But Sphere changes it completely by saying we want to have a sustainable growth of 365 days where the APY actually translate into money. Basically, what that means is that the protocol keeps growing and building and making money so that we can actually pay out these dividends, right, that we actually offer. So having a fixed APY of, let's say, 100,000%, or all these other projects that go 300,000%, a million percent, how are you going to actually pay that off, right? You have to. You can't create money out of thin air. The APY has to mean something, and that is like the big issue that we have here, is that the APY for a lot of these projects actually are just an arbitrary number chosen by whatever. Like, okay, I see this project. I know, what? I see Sphere with 99,900 APY. Man, they're so bad. We're going to make 99,901%. Okay, but why are you bringing that money in from, right?
Right.
So this is like the idea, right? You want to make money to actually being able to pay off that investment that the people are doing. So the taxes, of course, are going to stay because that is a passive income revenue stream that Sphere utilizes to make money, to actually do all these different revolutionary inventions that we currently pioneer right now in the entire space.
Mhm.
Plus, we want to invest into other teams, and that is what Penrose and Dystopia are coming in a second. We have still one more item coming in here, right? Where we're going to be talking about that. But basically, the core vision is to make money that we actually can, pay out. We don't want to have an arbitrary number.
You don't want to create, be able to follow up with it.
Exactly. The idea of Sphere is to actually, Sphere is not meant to be a project where you say, okay, it's a 99,100% APY, because that is not what actually brings value to Sphere. The actual idea of Sphere is, we want to grow with a project. We want to use the liquidity, the money from the average investor, and compete with the big boys in the space, with the conglomerates, and basically become this all of us, like each and every one of us can't compete with them by ourselves, but because we are all together, we can actually create utility and items that we then can offer to other projects, and that money comes back to each and every investor.
Can I add something in there?
Yeah, sure.
I'm reading a lot on this side, and I think people have misunderstood exactly what Perpetual APY is. I think some people are seeing this as like, oh, Perpetual APY, that means we're going to be making less with the APY. What Perpetual APY is, like, it's not a bad thing. It's an amazingly good thing. And it comes down to your view of, like, if you're looking at crypto, like, if you want to get into a project that's essentially going to be around for 4 months and then crash, then Sphere is not going to be your project, because that's not the goal. Sphere wants to hit, like I said, 10 to 50 to $100 billion market cap, but it's not going to get there being a project that's unsustainable. And there's a reality that, like, a lot of these big time investors, a lot of the projects with 100 million percent APY, 100,000% APY, the people trading them are trading $1,000 at a time or $500 at a time. But once you get the APY to something sustainable, you're talking about people dropping 10 million at a time, 50 million at a time.
Yeah.
Like Tesla bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. That can't happen until you make the project a legitimate project. And there's just a reality that all these other projects that don't do this, they're not backed by real revenue, they won't exist in a year. They won't exist in 2 years. But if you're looking at the long-term picture of crypto, then this is something I talk about all the time, is that crypto is still really, really small, really, really small, like incredibly small. And the people that own crypto, they're like, it's like, I don't know, like 96% millennials, okay? The poorest generation on the planet right now, okay? They're expected to get $69 trillion. They call it the great wealth transfer. Over the next 15 years, they're expected to get $69 trillion in income. And where do you think, when they get that $69 trillion, where do you think they're going to put it? Are they going to go put it in traditional stocks where they can earn 6% a year? Or are they going to come throw it into Sphere or Bitcoin or, the crypto space? And that's where you're looking at, Sim's not saying, I want to make a couple $1 million. He's saying, I want to make a titan in the crypto space. I want to see this project top 10 crypto on the planet. I want people to buy Sphere because they want to own the governance rights to all these DeFi innovations. So perpetual APY means you were looking at this project. I know a lot of you guys were, and thinking, well, I got to get out before it crashes. And now you're saying, oh my gosh, I can invest in Sphere and for the next 5-10 years. I could, this could potentially be huge. This could potentially be the next, XRP level investment, Terra Luna level investment, Bitcoin level investment. And so that is what perpetual APY is. Perpetual APY is the ability for this project to be fully sustained. And I guarantee over the next 5 to 10 years, every single project in the space is going to have something similar, something where it's actually backed, because people don't want to invest in things where people are just printing money. And it's once you've been, had something like Time Wonderland happen, something like the node projects, strong nodes and all these things, where you've lost, people are losing millions of dollars, right? Once you've had that happen over and over and over again, you get, you start to figure out what it is and you start to avoid it. And Sphere is saying, hey, we're not going to be the next Time Wonderland or the next node project. We're going to be the next Terra Luna. And so that is why perpetual APY is amazing and genius, is because, now you guys know, like some of you guys made a lot of money with Sphere so far. And now you were nervous. When do I get out? And now you know you don't. This is something that you can ride for a long period of time. This is something you could say,
you don't have to worry about that top that you have to sell out at.
Yeah. Sim, you never brought up the volatility pendulum, but do you want to talk a little bit about that?
The volatility pendulum. So right now, everyone knows, right? Sphere is a volatile project, right? Basically, we went up. But of course, because every project has a correction, and like that's why I said everyone has to take a chunk of profit, right? So you don't hold for your dear life, right, into a project, but from time to time you have to realize your gains. This is something that I said from day one, correct? So what is that volatility pendulum that we are speaking about? Basically, when the project goes up, thanks to the taxes, the project makes money, right? But when it goes down, and the tax of selling is higher than buying, so basically when there is a lot of sales, the treasury actually makes even more money, so that we can actually make even more work. We can even work more and more and more, and we can actually utilize more and more strategies.
So basically what that means is you guys all know that crypto is insanely volatile. It's not like the stock market where it's going up 1% or down 1% and people are like losing their minds thinking it's the end of the world. Crypto, you could have 80% drops. You could have 90% drops. You could go up 300% in a day. And that's something insane about crypto. And so basically the volatility pendulum allows Sphere to profit off of volatility. And so what he's saying is, yes, so the price is backed by the revenue, right? It's backed by what Sphere's bringing in. But as you're going to also see that the price is going to go way above that, and it's going to go below that, but it pendulums back and forth to adjust back to it. So savvy or smart investors will see it go way above and then crash back down, and they'll be okay with that. It's like Bitcoin when it went up to, people thought it was insane. It went up to $1 and then it crashed down to 50 cents and it was the end of the world. Then it went up to $50 and it crashed down to $15, the end of the world. Then it went up to $300 and it crashed down to $50 at the end of the world. Then 2,000 back to 200, and then 20,000 back to 3,000, and 70,000 back to 30,000. Smart investors were the ones that just stayed in the whole time. They're the ones that didn't sell when it went to $1 and crashed, right? And so that is what the volatility pendulum is. It's good if the price goes above revenue and below revenue, but the way it's built, it's always going to come back to that revenue mark. And so you don't have to worry either way. Yes, you're maybe your sphere goes up 10x today, and then it crashes back down to current day prices, or maybe a little bit lower, but you can have confidence because it's backed by revenue. It's going to come right back to the mark where it's supposed to sit and keep rising as sphere continues to expand. And so when he told me about that, I thought it was pretty dang amazing. I was like, that is, incredible.
And could I add something to that, Jesse?
Of course.
So I seen somebody in the chat earlier. They said, so basically I'm no longer in a DGen project, LOL. And yeah, right? Like this project is going to be around for years. Like this is separating yourself from that DGen project that can't last, a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, but can last years. And a project that you can knowingly put money into and say, hey, I don't have to sit here and stare at charts all day and worry when I'm going to get my profit. I can actually put money in here and do exactly what this project was meant to do. And that's, long-term sustainable passive income, not when can I dump my money into it and then get my money back out. So that's what's really cool. And that's what people need to pay attention to is, yeah, we all have that DGen itch, we all have that and there's still plays out there for that. But Sphere is separating themselves from the DeFi ecosystem to make themselves that legitimate of a project. So, yeah, absolutely, we're separating ourselves from DGen play.
Sim, I think you need to go into kinetic bonding and talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of what makes Sphere so different is how dude, I don't even understand how you exist, but all the different things you do and all the different things that you're bringing to Sphere, I think is important, because without an understanding of what's the big picture of all the things you're working on, it just, who cares if you can't actually bring in the revenue? So show them, talk about kinetic bonding, and then we can go to Penrose and Dystopia.
Okay. Okay, you have to share again, Austin.
Oh, I got your screen here. Yeah, you're good.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Everyone knows about the Galaxy bonds, right? That we have actually talked about, and we have actually rebranded that to a bit more of a Galaxy marketplace, and to make sure that everyone understands. With our V2 contract, actually, I didn't mention that today. Actually, Certic finished our audit today.
Ooh, nice.
And Solidity Finance finished our audit today. So our V2 contract is ready to go, and we are getting closer to launch.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, so what we did is we added a new tax, but to calm everyone down, it doesn't mean we're increasing the tax. We just added a new variable into our contract where we can adjust some taxes towards too. So now we have Galaxy bond taxes, and we have upgraded our contract, and we improved the precision. So right now, with all the auto staking protocols, they have a fixed tax that's at 1%, 2%, 3%, full numbers only, and no decimals. So now with our new contract, we can actually go into decimals. So what we do is we take, let's say a chunk of RFV, a chunk of this, a chunk of that, and we put that into the Galaxy bond tax, and then we send it to the Galaxy marketplace. And now the magic happens. A lot of you guys already know from, and don't get PTSD yet, from Wonderland, they had minting bonding. Olympus has minting and bonding. And now with kinetic bondings, we are bringing basically bonding 2.0, and we are perfecting it. So how do we do that? Let's say the Galaxy marketplace has a bond for the whales at we have $5,000. Thanks to our dynamic tax, the whale is sitting at a 60% tax. So what the whale does is, okay, the Galaxy marketplace offers them a 10% discount on their 60% tax. So basically what happens now is that the Galaxy marketplace says, hey, instead of you going through the liquidity pool, you can actually come to me, and I'm going to give you 10% more for your money. So now we are creating something called positive arbitrage. What is positive arbitrage? TM. Basically, what it does is we are offering them $5,000 worth of stables, and they are offering us back $10,000 of Sphere. Now we did with our $5,000 investment, 5,000 additional dollars. So we already made 100% return on what we actually sold. Now what happens is we take that Sphere, and that is already the first step on how we improve upon the legacy model that Ohm does, is we are not minting new tokens. What the issue with minting new tokens is, I will get more in depth with that. But basically what happens now is we have the tokens and we are recycling them. So, or, redistributing them, you may say. And what we do is we go then to the new investor and say, hey, we have $10,000 dollars worth of Sphere, and we're going to be providing a bond. Instead of paying a 13% tax, let's go conservative and say 12%. So you're basically saving 1%. So now what happens is the new investor brings in new money, brings in $1,000 of worth of new money, and we are giving him $880 worth of Sphere. If we take the $10,000 of that we made here, so basically we already made 100% return, and then we sell it back to the new investor, and in total the treasury makes a profit of 124% on tokens that are already in circulating supply. That is already massive. So now let's get more in depth on what actually Kinetic bonds fix in the Galaxy marketplace. Now we need to look on what is actually being improved on here. So for Olympus's model, for example, they had bondings. Well, for simplicity's sake, we say there's a 10% bond, and you hold 1 ohm. 1 ohm is worth $30. So you, as a savvy investor, you say, okay, there's a discount on the ohm bond. What you do is you go to and sell your ohm. Basically, what you make is throw 1 ohm into circulation, take these $30. Now you go to Ohm's bonds and say, hey, I got $30. I want a 10% discount at Ohm. So what Ohm does, or the bond does, is basically print 1.1 new token because of the 10% discount and gives it back to you. And additionally, Ohm prints 1.1 more tokens and sends it to the DAO wallet. So what happened now is that the new investor created out of 1 ohm basically 3.2 ohms. Therefore, inflating the protocol even more. And what caused the catastrophe that happened with the DAOs is that, because they had a high APY, and the only way to generate revenue for all these, rebase tokens, the old generation, is by emitting new bonds that made new money. So for you to create new money, you had to increase the bonds, and therefore, because of this bond flipping mechanism, you inflated the protocol even more. So let's say they had 100,000% APY on the current circulating supply. Now you have 3 times the 3 times more the tokens right now, and you have to give the APY to all these 3 new tokens. Now Sphere fixes all of that. Basically, what happens now with the legacy model, people are selling, it causes sell pressure, the price goes down, new tokens get minted and in circulation, therefore increasing the inflation. And also the biggest problem, like if this wouldn't all be a problem already. Now the investor didn't bring any new money. He literally sold his ohm for the same money, and he brought it then back to the protocol and minted 2.2 new tokens. So the treasury didn't make any money actually, and caused a hiccup inside of the protocol, right? So Sphere changes all of that. Basically, no one is going to be in their right mind. I'm going to sell my Sphere for 20% tax, then just to get into the bonds that are a 1% discount. Therefore, they're paying 32% on their Sphere. So no one is doing it. So basically, the project is guaranteed to make money. And the beautiful thing is that the protocol is going to make only new and fresh liquidity. New money that wasn't in the Sphere ecosystem are going to be bonded. So basically, only fresh money comes in. I hope that makes sense. Now, because of our governance acquisitions, people are starting, quantum liquidity as a service is all cool and dandy. So let me blow your mind even more now. We are going to create a Galaxy marketplace and say we want a W-matic bond. Okay, since Sphere runs on Sphere W-matic LPs, we say, okay, now we have, invested, quote unquote, invested $5,000, made $12,400 in total, making 124% return on all of this already. That is already amazing, right? From all these taxes. But that is not even everything. What we basically do now is take that 124 return plus our, total, like I said, $12,400. We take that W-matic, send it towards our treasury, and now we start deploying that W-matic with Sphere into the liquidity pool. But thanks to our liquidity pool, this is now quantum liquidity. It's not a normal liquidity pool like Uniswap, like QuickSwap, like PancakeSwap. That $12,400 are starting to make more W-matic, creating even more money for the protocol. So basically, we don't only fix the problem that Olympus had, the core flaw, by having increased inflation, by having high sell pressure, by having all these tokens, all these problems that I just listed. We remedy all of them, and on top of that, we are going to take the money that we made, and we are even making more money with quantum liquidity as a service. That is one way of using our Galaxy marketplace with our Kinetic bonds. That is only one revenue stream with the Galaxy marketplace. Of course, we can then say we want to have tattoo bonds, we want to have XYZ bonds to actually increase our treasury's governance and use that to incentivize. So let's say, for example, we have done Chi and we have an Aave My balancer pool. So My is basically Chi. So we can also then say we want another bond where we say we want Chi tokens, and then we can put that into Tattoo Chi, into Tattoo and get Tattoo Chi, and then incentivize our quantum liquidity pool even more. So basically, our W-matic pools are making even more money to the protocol.
Dude, this is insane. Wait, you didn't talk about half of this yesterday. This is awesome.
And hey, Sim, can I say something?
Yes, sure.
So basically, for everybody, because everybody, we need some translation. We need some Jesse translation. The thing is, right? The thing is like Jesse was talking about earlier. If a project just focuses just on taxes or something like that, it's just not sustainable, right? But we are seeing, and this is what I was talking about earlier, that we are no longer a degen project. We are a legitimate investment. Is that you are creating returns to investors through different streams of revenue, not just basing your benefits that you're getting from investing just from taxes. So that way, just like Jesse was talking about earlier, we don't have to rely just on volume as far as people getting in or getting out. It's that we are having revenue streams, multiple revenue streams, just like we aspire for financial freedom. We're getting multiple revenue streams to feed you guys as investing in this project. So if you want to quick and dirty summary, right? That alone should just excite you. That's freaking awesome.
You want to translate, Jesse, because people are saying Jesse translation.
we need the Jesse.
I've been reading a lot of the questions. It's interesting reading through the questions. Lots of people are still asking about the APY. A couple people I don't think understand that when you pay taxes when you buy and sell Sphere, those taxes go into the treasury. So that is a revenue source, or it's like a delayed revenue source. So the treasury then makes money off of those taxes through quantum liquidity, but also they get paid back to you. So it's not like if you hold long enough, you get all that money back. And so you still have a pretty high APY just from that. It like basically punishes people who are like freak out and sell really quickly, right? At every little price drop, they get punished by they're paying high taxes for everyone else that's holding, right? So the longer you hold, you're still making an APY from basically the people that are jumping in and out of the project and losing money that way. So it's not like it's 100% purely outside revenue. You also have that as a stream. So if you're paying taxes, you're going to get that money back if you hold long enough. So that's one thing. So the taxes are kind of a moot point if you're holding long enough. The second thing is, as far as all of this, like the big thing, I guess, to take away for all of you guys is that one, the project gets liquidity without the contract needing to sell. So, Sim, can you bring up the price chart for Sphere?
Oh, sure. One more thing. People were saying 124%, $5,000 is not 12,400. I know that. What I mean is 1.2%, 1.24 times, the $5,000, is well. But I guess everyone understood that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, people, tend to be confused there, or maybe I have, said it wrong. I'm sorry. One more thing, since a lot of people are asking when does quantum liquidity as a service start? It's starting with V2. That's when we move.
When's V2 start?
That was, yeah.
When V2 starts, we are going to announce that, in the coming weeks, because we are changing a bit how V2 is going to be operating. But I don't want to say that now because I don't want scammers or something to start scheming and, create some problems. But basically, when V2 is ready and we finish everything, you guys will know immediately, so no one can, my dear investors.
Got it.
And two quick questions, Sim, while you're getting that loaded that people are really wanting to know is, one, what is the rough timeline of this perpetual APY? And two, what is the floor and ceiling
V2.
for this APY? Okay, so V2.
The floor and ceiling is really dependent on revenue streams, right? You can't say, okay, we are going to have 10,000% or whatever. It really depends on the revenue stream of the protocol in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So here,
I was gonna say, so So the red candles. Sim pointed this out yesterday. The red candles that you're seeing, a lot of times when you're seeing this, some of these bigger ones, that's from the protocol itself having to sell off because the protocol owns its own liquidity. Basically, you got to liquidity is basically two coins, right? You have the stable coin and you have Sphere. And so if somebody sells Sphere, then the protocol has to sell half of that Sphere off for stables. That's correct, right, Sim?
Yeah. So, well, not only for stables. Since we have this tax accumulation inside of our contract, you can see in our contract we accumulate Sphere with every sell. So when you sell, you see that a part of that goes back to the contract, and the contract then takes that Sphere, sells it to the liquidity pool. Similarly, how you do that, and converts that money back to to the protocol and towards the treasury.
Got it. And so, but basically, what it means is with kinetic bonding, what you're going to have is all of that's done off market. So the whales are selling their massive bags off market, and so now you're able to get liquidity without the contract needing to sell. So that's a big thing. That basically means you're reducing sell pressure on the project. You're having less sell pressure on it because the whales are selling directly into the Galaxy marketplace. The second thing you're getting is you have a whale-proof mechanism. So no one person is going to massively crash the price. All these whales, you guys know that whales crash projects and they can send them plummeting and destroy a project. Well, you don't have to worry about that because the whales are heavily incentivized to sell through the Galaxy marketplace instead of crashing the price. So they're doing it off market, and not only are they doing it off market, but there's all that money goes into the marketplace and then it's used for bonding. So it never goes back onto it's all off market. A normal over the counter, sometimes it'll drip back into the market, but this one won't. So a fully well-proof mechanism, it reduces sell pressure. And then, like Sim said, you have profitable arbitrage. It's a new profit source. It's basically like, I like to think of it as like Olympus Bonds 2.0. Which those, I know a lot of people, are upset because the price of Olympus dropped so much, but Olympus and their team, they're genius. And even the people, anyone in DeFi knows that and will admit that they're really smart. They bring in a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
And
100%.
yeah. And so Sim's basically found a more efficient way to do that bonding. It's just an increase in efficiency on it that makes a lot of sense for Sphere. And so it's pretty awesome, that whole concept. And the idea of he dropped that bomb, like, having other bonds like tattoo bonds and different things like that. That's incredible too. So
of course, a few people ask, how do we make money from that? First of all, quantum liquidity as a service is basically helping the price go up. So it's aiding to the liquidity pool and to the rebasing. So that basically means, the protocol is going to have more money into its liquidity pool. And basically that means you can actually, sell to the liquidity pool for a reasonable price. So that is the first thing. One more thing is, in the long-term vision of Sphere, we want to, have a completely deflationary system, but that is, coming in phase 3.
Well, not just that, because the price will be deflationary because of the event horizon.
Exactly.
That'll come out with
Exactly.
as soon as perpetual APY hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So, yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say a lot of people are asking about the APY, how it's adjusting. Can you explain how, like, most people don't even, okay, you compounding wise, okay, and Sim was talking about this yesterday a lot. Compounding wise, that the 100,000% APY, the majority of the APY, or the majority of that APY is made, what did you say, the last 20 days, Sim?
How much the price increase, or what do you mean? Sorry.
Like, you were talking about yesterday, the majority of the APY is actually done in the last 20 days. It's like the penny that doubles.
So, yeah, exactly. You have to keep in mind we have a growth of 1.91%, but since we exceeded that, right? Since we are sitting at 10 cents now, and we started at 0.001, the APY is scaled with that, and the protocol already with the 99,100% APY is already price-wise sustainable for the next 100 or so days. Already with the massive action that we have, of course, selling is going to increase that because when sales happen and people are taking profits, the protocol also takes profits, and that is how then the APY increases, and that's with the pendulum, which is actually helping sustain the protocol's APY. A lot of people are asking what is going to be the floor APY. As long as the Treasury makes money and as long as the taxation system is in place, we are going to be having always a positive APY. As you of course scale, and let's say we had a $10 billion market cap, having 1,000% APY means 10,000% APY basically means your project has to hit a evaluation of 1 trillion, right? So it really depends, on the market cap, on how much revenue we bring in, how big the project is, and that is where we say the volatility in the project is going to help, sustain the protocol.
But and I think a lot of people don't even care about the APY as much as they care about their daily payout.
Exactly, and that is the thing, right? You're thinking the APY means basically I'm making money, but what I tell you now is, let's say today the market cap is at $1 million, right? And in 1 year you have that 100,000% APY. What that basically means is if the market cap in 1 year is the same and no one buys or sells technically and no money comes in, you're losing, you have 1,000 more tokens. That is correct. But all these tokens are worth, 1,000th of what you actually had. So it's the same as if you hold one token worth $1,000, or if you hold 1,000 tokens worth $1, because if you don't have revenue stream into the protocol, there's no way that, the price can go up. And that is why you have to look, how does the protocol make money to actually sustain the price, right? And that is what we are doing different. We want to make the price, sustainable.
Yeah. What I was saying earlier though was like, basically the majority of the APY, the gains you get from it, are actually what you make, like in a 365-day period. Those are made in the last 20 days. So the majority of that APY is actually done.
I see what you mean. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, my bad. So basically, the 99,100% APY, if you take away, I think 12 days, like we go 300 and minus 12 days, 335 days, the APY at that point is 77,000. So in the last 12 days or so, the APY increases by 20,000%. So you are not noticed if the APY doesn't really mean anything in the beginning because it compounds at the end of the scale, right?
Yeah, and it's the whole thing of like the doubling penny. Like there's this analogy of compounding, right? Would you rather have $1 million or a penny that doubles every day for the next 30 days? And everyone's like, well, I'd rather have $1 million because how much could that penny be worth doubling every day? But I don't know what does it get up to? The penny ends up getting up to like
way more than 1 million.
Yeah, way more than $1 million. And that's how compounding works. But if you do it, it's like it's not even close to $1 million for forever. It's like the last like 3 or 4 days that it goes way above $1 million. And so basically all the earnings you guys are making right now, if you were to lower the price by, or the APY by 20,000% right now, it wouldn't even affect your daily earnings today, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of those, because that last percentage you're making for holding 365 days. So you guys are all worried about like how much you're going to be essentially how your daily earnings and everything like that. But the lowering the APY by tens of thousands of percent isn't even going to affect what you're doing there. So that isn't something that you have to worry about. But regardless, like even if say your daily earnings went down by like a ton, right? Say they went down by 80%. It's like everyone that had strong, right? Everyone had strong nodes and they're like, I make $20,000 a month. And they really didn't, because if you actually talk to those people and you ask them how much they made from strong, today they'll say they lost 10 grand total. So they were making $20,000 a month, but in the very end, it was just, it made them feel good for a couple months, but they actually didn't make any money. And so what you're doing with Sphere is you're saying like, you're going to make passive income, but it's going to be real passive income. This isn't going to be, something that's a high number that makes you feel good for 2 months, and then you end up losing all your money.
Exactly. So yeah, and of course you have to look at the APY. Let's say we had 1.91%, correct? That compounds for 365 days to 99,100%. But if you take it, from 1.91 to 1.9 only, the APY goes down from 99,100% to, let's say, 80,000, right? Because of the compounding interest effect. But basically what you have to look at is, how much does the treasury make to actually sustain that, number. A lot of people, a lot of projects say we're going to be giving 1,000,000% APY. 99,000, the 1.9% that we give out right now daily is actually scaling with the project's growth, right? And that is how how we actually can sustain it as it is right now, because of the dividends that we make with our investments, and of course the influx thanks to the taxation system are actually backing up that 1.91%. But like I said, if you compound, it doesn't really work, right? So you can say, okay, why, I don't want that APY, right? I'm leaving because I want that 99,000% APY. That APY is not feasible if there's no revenue backing it up, and that is what we are changing, right? We are saying we make this and that amount of money, right? Right. So sorry, the chat is keeps spamming, and I'm just looking at my screen. The APY, is backed by actual revenue, and that is like the difference.
Got it. And Gio just did the math on it. So if you were to have the question, would you rather have $1 million today or a penny that doubles every day for the next 30 days? At the end, the penny is worth $10 million. And so that just shows the power of compounding, that in 30 days, that penny goes to $10 million. But I was going to also add that you guys also think about it like this. It was about 200 million when I got into Terra Luna. I put $750 into Terra Luna, around a $200 million market cap. My $750 $750, Terra Luna pays like 12% APY. So they have about a 12% APY. Today, my $750 is worth, well, the last time I checked, it was worth $140,000. And so, just because it's not a high APY, and it's not going to be 12%, I don't know what it'll be. I'm sure it'll be a lot higher than that. But even if it was 12%, I was able to turn $750 into $140,000. But that's because Terra Luna is a legitimate project, right? And I don't know that Sphere, anytime soon is going to do what Terra Luna did. But that just kind of goes to show that, like, it's not, I still have that $140,000. It didn't disappear like Strong or Time or all this other stuff, right? I still have that still sitting there, and that's still a great investment. So that's just something to think about. There's a reality that investing in good projects over the long run, you make more money than investing in the degen ones.
100% long term. You have to. A project is gonna say we're giving this and that amount of APY if there is nothing, if it's just an arbitrary number where you don't. Well, let me look at this in a different way. You go to the project that actually say we're offering 1,000,000% APY, okay? And you ask them, how do you want to make that money? Makes no sense, right? How are you going to make that money? Send us one transaction link of whatever transaction you did that helped sustain the protocol. This is where Sphere changes the game, right? We're doing all these different strategies to actually boost the protocol, right? The money that we make is then the investors' money. It's not, something else. And I wanted to, should I show the deflationary mechanism and how we look at the deflationary mechanism, Jesse, to make sure people understand the long-term vision of Sphere?
Yeah,
Before we
deflationary
Penrose?
and then straight to Penrose. Yeah, because people are dying to hear about Penrose.
Yeah, we got Parrotly Finance in here. They said, "Okay, guys, stop asking about APY. So we come about Penrose and Dystopia."
Yes, sir. I'm drawing my beautiful chart real quick. So what is the vision of Sphere long term? That is like the idea. Why we are building this mega treasury right now. Let's look at this. Right now we are in the phase. What we envisioned is that Sphere grows like this, right? Like this. But what happened and what we learned over the past weeks is that Sphere went like this, right? So for simplicity's sake,
Essentially,
we're going to go with a yeah, well, it really doesn't matter how we go, but basically, and that is like the tipping point where the pendulum comes in, right? Is let's say we go like this, of course, buys, dips, whatever happened, and at this point we say, okay, we are stopping with the APY completely because the long-term vision of Sphere is different, right? So currently we are moving from a fixed APY to perpetual, 365 days sustainable APY. And then the next stage would be reverse. What we call it is a reverse APY, right? So what happens now is, sorry. What happens now is, of course, when the rebase stops, people are going to be like, okay, I'm not making any money, selling, yada yada. And since we stopped the APY, the rebasing, people may sell. Now the beautiful part is because we still have the tax system, when we say we're burning tokens, now there are less tokens in circulation. So what happens now is, let's say our treasury makes $1 million by then, in a month. Let's say we then take $750,000, we reinvest that money to make even more money, and then we take that 250,000 and we start selling, buying the tokens and burn them. Therefore, the price goes up, and this is where the forced appreciation comes. Now we have actually bought the tokens and burned them, therefore less tokens are in circulation. So the hodlers then are actually going to make more money. Now what happens is, of course, people are going to be selling, making money, of course, sell, and then we do the same stuff over time. We go up again because our treasury is making more money and more money and more money. And basically what the idea of Sphere then is, because we already, people sell, it's going to be harder to sell, that it's going to be harder, to plummet the price because there's less tokens in circulation, and thanks to the treasury buying these tokens, because the treasury is basically a fund that makes money, right? So what happens now is that even though the market said, okay, this project is going down, thanks to the treasury actually making money and burning these tokens, and thanks to not having a rebase mechanism but rather having a deflationary mechanism, the price of Sphere inevitably goes up. This is why we say it's a store of value with forced appreciation, right? Why the force? Because no matter what the market says, as long as the treasury grows and makes money, we can start buying these tokens and make this token of Sphere more and more and more and more and more and more scarce, right? And that basically means the long-term holders at the end of Sphere, the longest-term holders are going to be here, right? So the APY didn't really mean much because you are here or even here, right? That is like the long-term vision of Sphere. This is why we are saying forced appreciation, right? So basically, the tokens are, the longer you hold, the less the token is, out, and because no one is selling their tokens, and that is how Bitcoin works. People are holding the Bitcoin token and saying, or the Bitcoin coin, basically, or holding Bitcoin. So and they're saying, I'm not selling. One comes and offers 20,000, no. 40,000, no. 45,000. Then someone is willing to sell for 45,000, and then that is the price of Bitcoin, 45,000, because that is the lowest price someone is willing to sell one Bitcoin for. This is how the price of Bitcoin works, right? It is perceived valuation because people say, okay, I evaluate Bitcoin to be at this price point, right? 45,000. That is what one Bitcoin is worth for me, right?
Yeah.
So, with with the deflationary mechanism of spheres, people sell and the treasury buys. So the psychology of the market is going to say, okay, I'm holding this token because it's inevitably going up, because the biggest investor or the biggest buyer of sphere is going to be the treasury itself. And that is what is changing the game, because you have an entity that keeps buying and buying and buying no matter what happens. So that is where the forced appreciation comes, because then the market sees, okay, there's always someone buying the token, therefore the token is worth something, and then people go in and buy the token because it's an ever appreciating token. And that is why we say the S&P 500 of crypto basically is because the S&P 500 is always appreciating over time. If you look at the chart, of course it went up and down, but at the end of the day it went up, right? So that is why we say, once we have that reverse APY in the coming few, not now, not anytime soon, we have perpetual APY that is going to be working. We have influx of money right now that we can sustain the 1.91% that we are currently emissioning out for the foreseeable future. And we're going to be adjusting, coming forward in the coming weeks. And, with V2, we're going to be adjusting the APY based on that. And we're going to be transparently communicating that with the community, so people know, okay, what is happening with the protocol. But because the investment strategies that we are going to unveil in a sec, which are going to blow your mind again, is going to tell you now that we could technically say the APY, we can send it now and show the APY right now, but thanks to these investment strategies that we are making, the APY is going to change, drastically into the positive way, right? So yeah. Any questions you had there, Jesse, because you wanted to say something, I think?
No, that was beautiful. That's
Awesome.
Your voice is like, that Calm app? Have you heard of the Calm app?
Appreciate it.
No, have you heard of the app called Calm?
That just talks while you try to sleep?
Yeah. That should be your voice. You
Yeah.
should be like, okay, however you talk, you ready for dreams? You ready to wash your hands, your dreams?
Wait a minute, Jesse. We need another Sim impression right now.
No, that was so bad. But you know what I mean? It's so calm. It's just like you're talking, and I'm like, man, I feel so calm right now. It should be like when you're on hold. It should be Sim's voice. People should pay you like a lot of money just to talk. Just calm down.
That could be an additional revenue stream for Sphere Finance.
Me talking. And one more thing that we want to say before we leave and go to Penrose. Now, what happens if everyone would be selling, right? Let's say everyone at the end is going to sell. And this is when I said at the very beginning, we want to reward the last holder, right? You guys are making money now, but what is with the last person who's holding Sphere? What does he do, right? How does he make money? So the question now happens, what happens if he this, and let's say he goes like this, and the last holder is here because the price of Sphere plummeted. The last investor, and that is the beauty of things, is he's going to have the entire treasury his own. So basically, the last investor would say, okay, the treasury has 100 million, currently it sits at 20 million. We believe it's going to hit 100 million and more, right? I don't want the Sphere experiment to continue. The game theory is concluded now. I want to take out the treasury. So the last investor is going to make basically the most money because he's going to have a literal treasury.
So basically, it's like the inverse of like a traditional investment. Traditionally, if you're the last investor, you lose. You're the bag holder. You've lost everything. If everyone sold Bitcoin and you're left with all the Bitcoins, you have nothing, right? But what you're pointing out is that if everyone sold Sphere and you're left with all the Sphere, you literally have everything.
Exactly.
Dude, okay, let's talk about Penrose. I want to hear about Penrose. Everyone's excited about Penrose. Tell us about Penrose.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, and now comes to the the beautiful thing is people are talking about curve wars and how Sphere wants to participate into curve wars and convex wars, right? Like that. I use that basically at the very beginning as an analogy, right? To explain what we want to do. So basically, what happens now is instead of participating in the curve and convex wars, we are bringing the curve and convex wars to Sphere. So what do I mean? We are building curve and convex wars powered by Sphere. We are building the new generation of deep liquidity stable AMMs. So how does this dystopia basically is the basically it's a curve, and Penrose becomes the convex of Polygon. For now, we're going to go, the goal is to become, cross-chain as well. But basically, we are building the new generation of, convex and curve wars. So basically, currently DEXs, when you swap between two stablecoins, let's say QuickSwap or similar, you're paying 0.3% fees. With Dystopia, you're paying 0.05% fees. Dystopia is based solidly on Phantom, but we fixed the emission schedule. The issue why Andre left and all that went to Zell is because the emission schedule of Solidly was wrong. So what happened is, at the first week the numbers were correct. In the second week they printed so many tokens that the price plummeted of Solidly, and that's why he said, okay, this experiment failed, I'm stopping. We are changing that. We fixed that. Now we also have fixed a new bugs that came out with the Gauge reward bug pool. That has been fixed as well. Then we also have a better ecosystem distribution of the VE NFT for all these different protocols that are going to be partaking into, the dystopian wars. As well as we have massive partners coming into that. We have, Terra Luna's UST coming and joining the dystopian wars powered by Sphere. Then we have Frax coming. We have Chidao coming. So very, very big stablecoins are going to be partaking into Dystopia. So that is already massive.
Okay, wait, really quickly. I think it really helps when you explain why do stablecoins care so much about liquidity?
Yeah, sure. So basically what happens now is, why do stablecoins care about liquidity is because decentralized, the decentralized stablecoins need to have a peg. Basically, every stablecoin has, like USDC has to be pegged to $1, right? But for that to happen, you have to have deep liquidity so that the peg is always maintained. So when you have seen, I think in December, when everyone was selling their MIM, right? The price of MIM went below $1. So it depegged, and one MIM became less worth than $1. And what happened then is people swapped, they used USDC, for example, for MIM and used that arbitrage because MIM goes back up to $1 and people made money. So now we are creating the new deep liquidity within Sphere and within the entire ecosystem of Polygon.
Mic drop right there. Just drop it.
I think you blew a lot of people's minds here. I see a lot of mind blows in the chat right now.
And that is not even everything that we're doing. That is not even
Tell
everything.
us more.
I'm just
Tell
getting
us more.
started. I'm getting warm here.
Come on, that's the
I'm just
appetizer. Let's
getting
go.
warm.
Tell us more.
That is the appetizer. Now, how does Sphere make money? Right? We're building all that stuff. Right? First of all, I didn't even finish with Dystopia. Basically, we're also going to be providing a better user interface, and we're going to fix the analytics page to provide the corrected data to the users. So a lot of quality of life changes that we're going to bring, right? So next thing is we are going to provide liquidity towards Dystopia, and all these fees we're going to be also earning fees from Dystopia. Now now the next thing, which is actually going to blow your mind, is Sphere is also incubating Penrose. And Penrose
Dude.
So basically, what we are currently working on, we are fine-tuning the tokenomics. But basically, what happens now is,
You can't
Sorry,
even say it.
He's too excited.
He's so
for his own
excited
good.
he can't even
Okay.
say it.
I'm so excited. Penrose is it's incubated by Sphere. A big chunk of Penrose's tokenomics, let's say we are still, fine-tuning the numbers, but roughly 18% of the entire circulation of Penrose is going to be in Sphere's treasury. That basically means if we hit, we say, let's round it to 20%. If the TVL of Penrose hits $500 million, and we have 20% of our treasury, that basically means Sphere's treasury is going to grow from overnight to $100 million plus in wealth.
That's freaking crazy.
And that is not even everything.
Wait. Sorry, I was processing that. Your Sphere's treasury would go to 100 million.
Valuation because of the Penrose token
So
we have.
So can you tell for everybody watching, so if the treasury got to that high, what would that be as far as the benefit to the investor?
So now the beautiful part is, now that we hold so much and we can help the protocol, right? With the massive, votium that we have, it's going to be vested over a period of time. Of course, it's not like, what to say, it would be unfeasible otherwise. But basically, it's vested, and over time, we're going to have more and more rights over Penrose. And basically, what happens with Penrose now is that Penrose can dictate how liquidity moves. So all these different projects, like on Convex, a lot of people buy the CVX tokens, the CVX curve, to dictate where the liquidity goes. And we can then, as Sphere, dictate how the liquidity goes to even incentivize further all our investment strategies. We are bringing governance, acquisitions, and rights to an entirely new level. Completely out of the stratosphere.
How long did that take you to think about?
I saw that sometimes people say, we are out of the stratosphere.
That's awesome.
So what is Penrose exactly? People are crazy. Penrose is a DEX aggregator. So people, instead of locking in for 4 years their Dystopia tokens, to have the governance rights over Dystopia, instead they come to Penrose and lock their tokens for a lesser time. Right? So instead of 4 years, you're going to be like 16 weeks. So it takes, the locking amount goes down, but you're still benefiting as if you are locking 4 years. So that is like the positive impact. Now we are working with a lot of different projects now, and we are locking even, because the how the BE works is certain NFTs have been sent to a lot of different projects, right? What I can say is Sphere is one of them. So of course we're going to take their governance rights that they get airdrop from Dystopia, because a few projects are being selected for that, are going to lock their NFTs inside of Penrose, and therefore even boosting Penrose. That means Penrose is going to have even more and more and more governance rights over the entire Polygon ecosystem. This basically means we are starting DeFi Spring, baby, and Sphere is basically the pinnacle of it all.
And there's a lot of people like begging for translation. So Jesse, you want to hop in and before we go even further in these meat and potatoes, you want to kind of bring it back to
Man, I felt like
someone
that
said
was...
explain it like I'm 10.
I felt like that one was a pretty good explanation. I don't.
No, it was good.
Basically, Tattoo. Basically, you have Penrose, which is like Convex. So a lot of you guys aren't going to be familiar with what Convex is. It's $1 billion project on Ethereum.
Wait, no, it's not $1 billion. Let me tell you how big that is. So people are like, Curve is 21 billion. Okay, Curve is 21 billion. Curve is almost 13.44 billion.
Dang. Okay. Well, yeah, they're massive projects. Okay, they're massive, right? And so Polygon, their version of Curve is going to be Dystopia, and then their version of Convex is going to be Penrose, and Penrose is a satellite project of Sphere. It's the first satellite project of Sphere, and so you know, basically instead of them participating in the Curve Wars, they aim to take over the Curve Wars, and instead of participating and fighting over Curve tokens, they're just going to make Curve or own a piece of it is essentially the idea. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. And that's just really the first step in Sim's overall master plan. Are you thinking about taking this?
Only the first.
Are you thinking about ever taking this like cross chain?
100%.
Got it.
We are already planning on which chains we're going to be dominating next.
Got it.
Awesome.
Okay, because I think that's a big deal too. Because some people are like Polygon, and I think a lot of people don't even understand that Polygon, like why Polygon's so special, is because it's a second layer on Ethereum, so it's got Ethereum security. Where some of these other blockchains are just their own blockchains, Polygon utilizes Ethereum security, but it's faster and cheaper, and so that's why a lot of development's happening on it. There's just not as many like degen projects on it, so I think a lot of us are like maybe don't use it as much. But there's billions and billions and billions of dollars. What is the total liquidity on Polygon?
On Polygon, I think it's around. Let me lie. for DeFi projects, it's 5 billion. But let me look on Polygon scan. I think they have also the market cap on Polygon. The Matic market cap is 10 billion, almost 11 billion.
Got it. Okay, so and then like Binance is like 20 billion.
DeFi, yeah. Binance. You want to know how big Binance is? Let me look real quick. Maybe they have the stats as well. No, they don't have it. Yeah. Okay. But they're like DeFi wise, they're I think the third biggest. Terra Luna is first. Then comes Ethereum is first. Oh my God. Please don't. Ethereum is first. Terra Luna is second. Binance is third. Then Avalanche, Solana, Phantom, and then Polygon.
Yes.
So Ethereum is like 130 billion, and Polygon is right now at 4 billion.
But Sphere's goal is to dominate. It won't matter chain to chain. Like your goal is just to dominate across. And I don't know if you're going to talk about it, but you had mentioned something about quantum liquidity mixed into all this yesterday.
Sorry, repeat again. I was reading. Sometimes when I read the chat,
Yesterday you'd mentioned quantum liquidity in reference to some of this stuff with like Dystopia or
yeah. So basically, with quantum, Dystopia and Penrose, we can use that to incentivize quantum liquidity even further and increase its dividends for our investors, right? They make more money, and of course, because we have then these high APY quantum liquidity pools, that basically means even more projects are going to want to utilize quantum liquidity, and therefore we will be having more tokens inside of our treasury. And on top of that, because of the volume that they trade, we are going to make even more money based on the fees.
Exactly. And you had mentioned too something about like stable coins like UST and quantum liquidity.
Yeah, Terra Luna's coming. Terra Luna's stablecoin UST is coming to Polygon, and are going to incentivize. Are going to use Dystopia, and then we're going to be quote unquote hosting them, or whatever you want to say, for their liquidity, so they remain their peg on Polygon. Then there's Frax coming. If you have seen the post of Dystopia, you can see various different stablecoins, and that is the Polygon native stablecoin, that are also going to be part of Dystopia. So we evaluate this to hit over 1 billion rather sooner than later, and Sphere is going to be scaling with that.
Yeah, because you guys, but I mean, like quantum is there ever a situation where something like UST would use quantum liquidity, or someone like some of these massive projects that you know what I'm talking
about? I can't say.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good thing that you can't say. It sounds very good. Anyway, well, yeah, I don't know if that was a good enough translation. It's hard to explain if you're not familiar with Curve and if you're not familiar with it, but it's basically the the core concept is Curve provides liquidity. Liquidity is the lifeblood of DeFi. The more liquidity you own, the more powerful you are. It's like having troops or, you know, a land or something, you know? And so Sphere is an acquisition protocol, and it's all about strategy. And so they're slowly acquiring more and more liquidity, but they're also slowly acquiring like strong positions and pieces of the puzzle to expand that ecosystem like further. And so they you know, they have Tattoo, one piece of the puzzle, quantum liquidity, another piece of the puzzle. They have you know, Dystopia, Penrose, and so it's not just like it's not like, you know, some people are comparing Sphere to like, oh, you're just investing in projects. Like, no, that is not what they're doing. Like, Sim is he's a genius when it comes to DeFi, so he is strategically taking over projects, and that's why nobody can fork Sphere. I see all these projects like, oh, we're forking Sphere, but you can't fork Sim. You can't fork Simsala, and that's what brings what Sphere is to Sphere. It's like Elon Musk to Tesla, or, you know, Albert Einstein to math.
When people were asking earlier, just to make this as simple as possible, when people are like, well, what makes this different from Wonderland, is just what you said, Jesse. And just to hit it home with everybody watching right now, is instead of us promising not us, as far as I'm not a developer, but as far as Sphere Finance promising you an APY by investing in these projects, Sphere is the project. Like, we are owning these things that are providing the return. We're not just taking money and putting it in a basket of projects to hope that we can promise an APY. We are creating that APY. If that kind of makes it even more simple.
Yeah. I'm just reading through the chat. People are, you know. And what I can say, we are just getting started.
What are you reading?
We are just getting started.
I hid the chat, so I wasn't
I'm just
seeing
reading the chat. Yeah, can I hide the chat? Actually, it's crazy.
I just move it off my screen a little bit because it was like distracting.
If you minimize the screen instead of full screen, it'll take it out.
I see.
But
no, awesome. No, but I like the chat. Let me open the chat. Yeah. Yeah, we are just getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, this is big. Yeah. These are two projects. Should I drop a number of what additionally projects we are adding? Or should I?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like that was the thing, is like you already dropped so many things in this. It kind of like, I feel like you could have done the whole AMA about Perpetual APY, or you could have done the whole AMA about, you know, kinetic bonding. It's just like, it's almost overwhelming hearing all of it, because it's like, it's incredible. And that's the big thing that I noticed about Sphere, is like, you guys move so freaking fast. It's like, I don't even understand it. It's, you know, one week it's this, the next week you've acquired like 3 projects, you're building 5 things, and, you know, you're just moving so quickly. And I think that's one of the most special and unique things about Sphere, is like, where, you know, other projects might have like 3 things on the roadmap that they're working toward over like a 6-month period. Sphere has already accomplished 12 things and has 40 more that they're working toward. And it's just hard to compete for anyone else to even keep up. It's like Amazon, you know, nobody can keep up.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to drop numbers, but it's going to awesome. It's like what I always told my team members and my partners that I'm working with is, you know, you're not investing into Sphere as in, you know, you want to make monetary. Of course, you know, you want to make profit, but you're investing into this, you know, in the vision of Sphere. And it's like a puzzle right now. I have this big master plan working out, and, you know, all these different acquisitions, you know, and that is, of course, the difference is because let's say all these other projects make cool investment strategies, right? That is, of course, you know, very important. But basically, our investment strategies, I can't reveal too much now, but Dystopia Penrose, you can already see the synergies. Sphere has its synergy. Tattoo is going to have its synergy, and a few other projects that are going to create this entire entirely big Sphere ecosystem where all these other projects are going to go parabolic. That's what I can say. It's going to be parabolic. Each of these projects are going to, help each other even make even more money, right? So Sphere is creating its own. What I said is, we are going to compete with Curve at one point, but not as Sphere, but as an entirely big ecosystem. Penrose, Dystopia, Tattoo, Sphere, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Who knows how many more projects are going to become this huge, big project? Then, of course, the Polygon Alliance is going to come in and strategizing as well. So it's going to be a huge, massive, thing. We are creating DeFi Spring. We are going to make Polygon the DeFi chain. Then we are going to compete even with the big boys, right? So right now, people are saying it's not feasible for Sphere to fight with fight in the curve wars or in the convex wars. Yes, no shit, Sherlock, right? Sorry, we are building our own. We are building our own, and we are going to fight with our own. So Sphere just getting started. We are 100. We are 1 month old. Congratulations, everyone! Happy month anniversary. And we are just getting started. It's
That's
so
crazy, man.
Like
It's
I
literally a
wanna
month.
say what is happening next. What is happening next, but I can't. And the next things are going to change. How you perceive Sphere again. It's going to be like entirely different again. So that is the massive thing, right? We are already starting our curve wars, convex wars, powered by Sphere. Question mark, question mark, question mark, put an arbitrary number of question marks there that are going to support that in return, of course, support, quantum liquidity as a service and all these other services that we are currently working on in the background. So basically what happens now is that Sphere, right? Sphere, the vision is that everything, every project that out there is going to utilize anything from Sphere's ecosystem. So let's say quantum liquidity as a service, since we are partnering with Tattoo, and we built the strategy together, they're going to use quantum liquidity as a service. Then there's question mark as a service. Projects are going to use that. Then there's two question marks as a service, and these projects are going to use that, right? And that is what you want to invest into. You want to invest into a project that actually solves problems in the ecosystem, because that is how a project actually generates revenue. That is the difference. We are builders. We are building an entirely ecosystem around Sphere, and not like other projects say we're building an ecosystem and then they freaking airdrop NFTs. Like, what is an NFT? Is not an ecosystem, right? So yeah,
I'm excited to see it
Yes,
as
actually
kind of as
building.
you guys scale, and you have like quantum liquidity. And you've talked about in the past a couple other services that you're rolling out that are pretty crazy. And as you kind of combine these things, I feel like you're going to be able to come up, especially how like agile your mind is in DeFi. You're going to be able to come up with services that literally not only are they brand new, not only has nobody ever thought of them, but nobody could have ever implemented them except for you, because you built out this ecosystem and you have all the pieces of the puzzle sitting right there in front of you. And yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's going to be crazy, especially when you go cross chain. Like, that gets me really excited, because then you can tap into you can tap into, when you think Ethereum, when you're thinking cross chain, like Ethereum's also, obviously that's where
Massive.
all the big liquidity is, all the big money is. At what point do you do that in your mind? You don't have to give away too much, but I know that's a long ways out. That's weird to bring up right now, because that's probably pretty obscure. So, but do you see that happening at one
what I
point?
can say, yeah. People are saying Ethereum. I see a message. Ethereum is gas fees high. Ethereum is a joke, stuff like that. Guys, Ethereum is not meant for the retail investors, and that is like why Ethereum is big money. Is because for you, of course, $20-$30 gas fees, $200 gas fees is a lot. But if you move millions, that is nothing, right? And that is where the big money resides, and that is why Ethereum is sitting at a TVL of 132 billion only on DeFi projects. There's still NFTs, all that stuff that actually increase the TVL of Ethereum. There's big money, right? Polygon is very cheap, and of course, in Polygon is also big money, right? But Ethereum is an entirely different beast. You you can say the gas fees are high, but basically, you know, if you have multiple millions, you know, $200 in gas fees don't really, you know, affect you in a sense, right? Because if you move, you know, $1 million in ETH, you know, paying, you know, 0.01 ETH while you hold, I don't know, 67, 80 ETH in your wallet, that is nothing. Correct?
Correct.
So it's always, of course, a perspective. ETH has a lot of money. It's expensive for the retail, but we are actually aiming for big money, and that is what Sphere aims to do, right? Is to bring the big money to the small investor. That is what Sphere is, and that is why we are saying we are becoming the proxy governance token, because we are enabling the small investor the money that the big that the big investor moves, where the small investor cannot actually achieve it. Right? So, man, fixing problems is what Sphere excels at, and you know that is what Penrose, Dystopia, you know, Kinetic bonds, you know, fixing Ohm's model and introducing bonds 2.0, the hyper, you know, the hyper deflationary mechanism with the burning stuff like that. Question mark, you know, all these different items that are coming that I can't talk about right now. I wish I could talk about them now, but it's coming in the
I think I think Sim another, because I'm sitting here just the hamster wheels turning, right, of all these different ways that I try to not convince but convey people convey about Sphere as far as like talking about it, of what makes Sphere unique and different, because I love talking about projects that are unique and different. And another one that you just said is solving problems. What do you, when you think of, I love the TV show Shark Tank, right? What is when it comes to Shark Tank, what is the one thing that all the sharks ask the potential investors, what problem is this solving? And most of the successful businesses in the world are extremely successful over just solving problems, right? Like the Squatty Potty, things like the most revenue generating thing in the world, right? Like I was like one of those successful Shark Tank projects ever. And this is like how I personally feel like Sphere Finance is going to be very, very successful. It's not just advertising, hey, we are you can get rich in a year by investing with us. It's no, we're creating this ecosystem that's going to be solving all of these different problems. And that's where the value that you just can't, like you said, you cannot copy and paste this. It's not something as simple as code that you can just copy and paste and you know, hey, look at this. You know, this is a project that you made unique to yourself that no one can copy. And that's something powerful that I just want to make sure everybody understands watching right now.
Awesome. Man.
Yes, I said the Squatty Potty, bro. That's the most revenue generating product still to this day from Shark Tank.
And the unicorn and stuff like that, right? The unicorn, what was it? You can unicorn change the way I poop. Wasn't it like the
Squatty? What are you talking about?
Wasn't it that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about the commercial for it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know what you're talking. Yeah, everybody's like Sphere is the Squatty Potty of DeFi. Hey, I mean, there we go. Look at that.
So and just to kind of clarify, you do plan on, because you keep using question marks, but Penrose is the first of many different satellite projects you're working on, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how are you? Here's a good question. How are you sustaining, like Sphere on its own? Like that's a full-time thing. How are you sustaining these satellite projects? Like how are you able to do both?
I have split personnel. No, I'm just kidding. How it works basically is, you know, the core team of Sphere is not going to build all these different projects in itself. What we are working on is, you know, we are building teams that actually then work with these protocols, vetted high quality teams, and that is, you know, how we actually work with these projects. Sim is working for Sphere, right? This is my full-time job. But what I do as well is advise, help build these projects, but it's not my full-time job. We have teams, teams themselves, and that is where we do our acquisitions, is we use, different teams to actually build that for us. So it's not, our team building 1,000 things, because that is not how it's going to work. But basically, we're becoming this conglomerate in a sense, right? Is that a correct term?
Yeah.
Where can I share my screen again, just so I can explain it?
Yeah.
How it works. 1 second. Because a few people think like I'm building everything of that. Yeah, I'm correct in developing things, but that is even above me. So basically, yeah.
Well, as you're getting ready to draw this, so you guys are building Penrose, but you're not building Dystopia. You just have a relationship with them?
No, so I'm not sure. So Sphere is this, right? And that is how the Sphere ecosystem works. So basically, we have an entirely different team that is building Dystopia, and we have an entirely different team that is building Penrose. And Sphere is part of that, right? We are not working on the code on the front end of that, and we're not working on the code and on the front end of that. We are, advising in a sense, and we're actually, utilizing that team, and we guide them how to do the heavy lifting, and we provide them with liquidity, and we bootstrap these teams and incubate them to build their vision. So it's not Geo, Weaver, and I, and all our other team members, and we are already sitting at roughly 30 team members, on not core, but entirely on a Sphere. We also have different teams with own Solidity devs, with own front end devs that are building Dystopia, that are building Penrose, that are building Tattoo, right? Like all of these have their own teams, and every new project that comes, of course, is going to have its own teams that are building, but are all interconnected to Sphere. And basically, what happens is that all these projects are working with Sphere in tandem, because Sphere then gives back to all these projects with the liquidity that Sphere makes. So basically, Sphere makes money and takes that money to incentivize these projects to make even more money for the Sphere ecosystem.
Got it. But every one of these projects, as they succeed, not only would you make money because you hold their tokens in your treasury, but you actually make money through these projects and what they do, correct?
Exactly. So all these projects have a governance. All these projects have governance rights in some sort of way, where you can say, okay, because Sphere holds all these governance tokens, we can say, let's say, Tattoo do this for incentivize our pool, Penrose do this to incentivize our pool, Dystopia do this to incentivize our pool, XYZ project do this to incentivize our pool. And because we make so much more money, we can then take part of that money and put it back into these projects, so they can even build even a bigger fundamental project.
Well, what I meant was, like, for example, with Tattoo, every time somebody makes a transaction on Tattoo, you guys make money from that, correct?
From the fees, yeah.
Yeah. What about for Penrose? Like, is there any fees or anything that you're going to make money from that, or just price appreciation?
First of all, of course, price, that is a given, right? Price appreciation is always a thing, but basically, when you have these tokens locked into the ecosystem of Penrose, for example, in return, because of the emissions, you receive more tokens
Got
back.
it.
And because these, right, and that is how you make the dividends. It's not going to drop you USDC, right, but it's going to drop you in the protocol's native token. But because the protocol native token has demand, the price goes up, and that is how you make more money.
What about Dystopia? How do you make, besides, again, holding the tokens, is there a way you profit off that?
So we are currently in the talks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I'm going to say that anyway. Is we're in the talks to actually also provide liquidity, and because it's a DEX, we're going to be also earning passive income from all these different swaps. Penrose is actually the main thing that is going to earn liquidity, because it's garnering the tokens from Dystopia, right? And it's garnering tokens from you're receiving the Pen token from Penrose, and you're going to receiving the Dist token from Dystopia, right? We are not directly going to lock our tokens into Dystopia. Sphere is going to lock the NFTs, for example, that we have into Penrose, right? Because of the shorter lock time, and we become the convex of Penrose, right? It's a convex of a convex of a convex. So when I said the matryoshka principle, right? It's like one doll is here, then the smaller doll, right? And then even the smaller doll, and so on and so forth. And so this is, for example, Dystopia, right? Then this is Penrose, and then this is Sphere, right? So this one is going, to have rights over this, and because we have the rights over Penrose, we're going to have automatically the rights over Dystopia, right? And then other projects are going to come that are smaller, basically because of the curve wars, right, are going to try, to garner, as much liquidity from Sphere to actually then decide over Sphere, and then Sphere decides over Penrose, and Penrose then decides over Dystopia, correct? So it's like an ever endless cycle that is going to happen. And with a lot of different projects that are going to come, this is going to happen even more.
And this is just so like comparing this to like 99% of crypto projects are, look at this rad like dog we threw on our token, and it's called Shiba Inu 5000 Elon Musk to the moon Mars guy. And this token is now worth $3 billion. Let's go. And then Sim's over here and he's like freaking, programming computer with his strategies, like creating this, master plan. And, it's just amazing. It's amazing because it's going to be hard. It's hard to compete against what you're doing because most people just don't have the capacity. And I think that's the beauty of DeFi is like really anyone could jump into it and join. And that's why we have so many garbage projects. But, that's why I'm such a big believer in this project. It really is just because of you. It's because, you are you understand DeFi on a deeper level. You understand what you're doing, and you're a master strategist. And that's why I think you're gonna be able to execute this vision, is because of that. And I think that's really where the value comes from. Currently is from just this strategy that you're laying out, but your ability to execute it.
I appreciate that. One more thing, because people are saying, I thought Sphere is becoming the convex, right? Yes, Sphere is becoming basically the concave of all these convex projects, because through Sphere you're going to be accessing Dystopia, Penrose, Tattoo, all of that, right? So you concentrate your liquidity into Sphere, and Sphere is splitting that liquidity onto all these different projects, right? That those then in return become this concentrated liquidity of their counterpart. So Penrose is the counterpart of Dystopia. Convex is the counterpart of Curve, right? That's why Convex is called Convex, because it takes all that money, this big light ray. Let me draw this. Why not? No one screenshot this. I'm gonna make Sphere NFTs with my things. So basically, how a convex works, right, is like, I can't draw for my life, but basically, all that money comes into this, and then all these light rays come into this, and then it's concentrated to one thing, right? So that is how a convex works. But basically, Sphere reverses that. A lot of money comes in, but it's getting even more split into Penrose, into Dystopia, yada, 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 and stuff like that. And that is how Sphere technically becomes a convex for all these different convexes, but in hindsight, then also becomes the concave of these convexes.
Yeah, amazing. Sometimes you talk and I'm just like, dude, this guy is Sim is so smart, but sometimes it even goes over my head. But
it's so hard to translate it.
I'm just gonna take that as that was awesome. Whatever you just did, that was amazing. So
appreciate it.
Anyway,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I think that this has been really awesome, and I would just love to just do a quick summary of you talked about Perpetual APY. That sounds amazing. Yeah. That's coming out with V2. That's a zero inflation mechanism. People don't have to worry because you still have taxes, so the APY is still going to be pretty dang high just from the taxes alone, plus you're adding in revenue, plus everything else. You have the kinetic bonding, which is like ohm bonding 2.0, reduces pressure. You don't need liquidity. You get liquidity without the contract needing to sell. It's a whale-proof mechanism. You have profitable arbitrage. And then you have Penrose, which you called a Sphere, a project by Sphere. But Dystopia...
Powered by Sphere.
Powered by Sphere. Got it. Would you say the same as Dystopia?
One thing. One sec. I'm sorry. I drew it. Sorry, before we do that. Sorry, the concave is like this, right? Because people, I just remember, this is the concave. I was just sitting and I was like, no, that is not right. And I can't draw for my life. But basically, this, and then you have like this, and you have to, you can Google it.
Dude,
basically,
it looks like a guy. You see the eyes, the lines are the eyes, the middle.
I see his eyes.
Like a screaming dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this is the concave and this is the convex. Sorry, the nerd in me had to correct that.
You
Sorry, now
accidentally
you can
drew
please
the
ask the question.
expression of everybody's face listening to this AMA.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, I think it looks like this. Please don't cancel me if I draw it wrong. And this is basically the money coming in, and then splitting. It's concentrating this way, and then whatever. Google math, guys. Google what is it called? Knowledge is wealth.
Knowledge is wealth. I like that. Well, yeah, yes. Anyway, Dystopia, would you call that a project powered by Sphere as well?
Yeah, I would say that because we are helping, basically because Dystopia is powered by Sphere because we're building Penrose already. We are working on the fine tuning with Dystopia and how we can even alleviate pressure of Dystopia and help them and advise them into a even better role. And yeah, we are building a lot. But yeah, we would say it's also quote unquote powered by Sphere, not directly affected by Sphere, but the team is being also advised by Sphere. So yeah.
Man, well, I'm excited. I'm always excited to talk and just kind of hear your ideas and what you're up to and what you're building. And it really does feel like every other day you have like this new bombshell to drop, and the list just keeps getting bigger. Like bigger and bigger and bigger. Like other projects are like, we're getting an audit by Certic, and people go crazy. They start like losing their minds, like, no way, this is gonna be insane for the price. And then here you are, and you just like dropped an entire like seminar of things coming to Sphere, like not in the long-term future, but in the near-term future. And I feel like it's every time with you. And again, just how fast you move. I don't understand how anyone else could keep up. Like, I actually don't understand how you even function, because I swear I will like message you at like 2 a.m. and you'll reply back within 5 seconds. Do you sleep? Do you sleep?
A lot of people are saying, how do I sleep? A lot of theories where Sim is a robot. That is maybe true. And then the other thing is saying I'm Austin, so that is also maybe true. So we switch.
You got a lot of different
Also,
different alter egos.
yeah. Yes. Then of course my split personalities, where I sleep for a bit and the other personality takes over. Or I'm a dolphin, where half my brain sleeps and the other half is awake. So you have a lot of different ways to interpret what I am, who I am.
Yeah, it's possible
all
you're
a
an
simulation.
AI. It's possible you're an AI. Like I was thinking about that just now because we did KYCU and I have seen a picture of you. But if you were an AI, I guess you could technically fabricate that. So you're either are you an AI? That's the question right now.
No comment.
Dude, I would believe it. I would believe it because it is absurd.
He's like a super smart form of Siri or something, and we think he's a real person. Like you hear him breathing right now. That's actually a part of the simulation. Like it's programmed in there. All these little mental cues that we think that humans do, it's in there.
I'm blinking, guys. Trust me.
See, people don't want you to dox because they're afraid of security. They want you to dox just to prove you're a freaking human being.
I think one day Sim will have to dox because once you get big as Terra Luna or something like that, you know what I mean? Like you're moving markets at that point. So who knows? Who knows? We might see you in a suit someday on CNBC talking with Elon Musk, shaking hands. But you're about to fund some space venture, some competitor
I'm going to say I'm going to say my homie Jesse is waiting for me. Sorry, Elon. I gotta go.
Man.
Hey, so before we wrap this AMA up, should we get to the giveaway, the Sphere giveaway here?
Am I winning?
Are you winning? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I hope not.
Wow.
Let's see here. Let me share my screen.
Well done.
All right. Hopefully you guys don't break restream this time. Here we go. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you see my screen.
You have
'Cause
an
I don't see
unopened
it.
message. How dare you?
All right. Everybody, if you can see my screen right now. So I wanted to get this AMA out to as many people as possible. Okay. So all you had to do is retweet and follow me. And we're going to do a $50 sphere giveaway, just like if you guys are new to how I do things. It's as random as possible. All I do is I copy this in. And the reason I ask for you to retweet and follow me, not for my ego, but so that way the little third party app here can track you. So that way,
You know what?
what's up?
Hold on. Let's double that.
What's up?
Let's double it.
Let's double it. You want to double it? I'm down.
Yes, sir. Let's double it.
Look at that. You guys are increasing it as they said double. We're going to retweet it now. Holy crap! We went from 137 to 150. All right, guys, here we go. Let me open up another app here. All right, 3 seconds. I'm closing it out. 3, 2, 1. All right.
I won. I actually didn't retweet.
This is cool. I've never even seen this. This is rad.
Dude, this is how I do my Operation Give Back, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
How dare you not watch the Operation Givebacks, man?
Yeah, Jesse, do you not know about Operation Give Back?
I have 5 kids, so when I'm not doing all this stuff, I'm hanging out with my family. I'm jumping on the trampoline. I'm going on hikes.
You mean to tell me you don't watch YouTube after you do YouTube?
Wait, no. Hold on. He said he adopted me, but we have to clarify this.
I have 6 kids.
It's the other way around.
I've basically adopted you.
Actually, we're gonna do.
Thank you, Dad.
We're gonna do some substitutes just in case. We're gonna do 3 substitutes just in case a bot comes through, because that happens sometimes where it's like a Twitter account that was literally just made. All right, here we go, baby. So we got 203 participants. All right, one of y'all is gonna get $100 of Sphere.
Wait. Make it 2 people $100.
2 people 100. Too easy.
Yeah, I was thinking if you said double it, we get double the people. But yeah.
Okay, so 2 people, $100 a Sphere each. So we're gonna get 2 winners.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Start. 3.
Oh, dang.
Wait, I wanted to share. Oh, okay.
All right. So we got Guitar Gudu. I'm sorry if I pronounced your username wrong, and Chadala Rose. So let's make sure real quick that you're real. All right, because we don't want any bots in here. Oh, they got an NFT as their profile.
Oh, he even has an NFT profile.
Yeah,
picture,
look at that. That's legit. All right.
That's religion.
He's a true DeFi investor.
Wait, hold on. Do you want me to teach you something?
What?
Austin? At the very top of the Twitter, you can write twitter.com/the profile, and you go straight to the profile.
Really? You just taught me something. Look at that. All right, I can do that way easy. That's way easier. All right. Congratulations to you two. If you guys are watching right now, please make sure you DM me on Twitter. DM me your wallet address, and we will get that over to you. Congratulations, Eyes.
Awesome, guys. Been amazing.
That's a great AMA.
Wow. We said we are melting faces. And we actually meant that. And a lot of people are understanding now that at the end of the day, the APY means nothing if you don't really have investments. So, if you invest into a high APY project or, a node project or whatever project, ask the founders how they're going to be generating unique revenue to their protocol. And, you can now see what Sphere does. And, you compare these different projects to what Sphere does. And, of course, there may be a project that does even better, right?
Yep.
I'm not saying we are the best of the best. We are the kingpins, and we're working towards that. But maybe there is even a bigger Sphere in town. So yeah, that is something that we wanted to teach you guys, and that is how it's going to work. Of course, the Galaxy Marketplace with all these different the positive arbitrage that we are going to be doing to make even more money towards the protocol with quantum liquidity. For example, for the W-matic bonds, and we are fixing Olympus's model. So basically, Wonderland, Olympus, all of these, they had these massive flaws that we have fixed into Sphere, and we actually made the bonding a powerful tool, more powerful than it used to be already. So that is a thing that is coming into Sphere. And of course, Penrose and Dystopia, where we have big names like Terra Luna and Frax and Chidao are going to partake into this. And, it's going to be amazing. We are starting a new era of DeFi right now. So yeah, guys, I think
I wanted to say something about price, because something we talk about, just an education moment about, I think it's really easy to look at something like this and not see that, like, for you, and you and me talk about this all the time, like, you actually don't like that the price is going up so fast. You would rather it go up way, way slower. You don't want it to go up too fast, because that's not healthy for the project. And so just to clarify, like, when Sim does these AMAs, or like even the point of these AMAs isn't necessarily just to like hype people up. It's to share what is being built. But like Sim does definitely, like, and you confirm this, like, I told you, like, even like 4 days ago, I'm like, man, I hope the price drops a little bit, because that'd be so healthy. Remember when I said that?
it's a pendulum, right?
Yeah.
It's like we want that because the volatility of Sphere is what makes Sphere so freaking good. We are not afraid of dumps, right? Corrections, all that stuff. People are paying taxes that helps the long-term holder. Like I said, we are building so many unique items that always going up is it's very nice to see, but when the price dumps and people sell at 20% plus dynamic tax, it helps the protocol long term, and that is the crazy part, right? That's why we actually introduced the taxation system into our into our protocol, because it's so freaking amazing. I can't say it more often. We want the volatility, we want the price to go up, we want the price to go down, we want the price to go sideways, because as that happens, the treasury is making money and we can build new products for the people that are holding long term.
Yes, volume. And that's why
people, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Sorry, keep going, Jesse.
I was gonna say, that's why you mentioned volume earlier. Volume basically means the higher the volume, the more Sphere is making a ton of money.
Exactly. We are not forcing people to sell, right? Everyone is free to do as they want. But what I'm saying is, because a lot of people are afraid of a correction, it really doesn't mean anything. Because if you look at our website, right, if you go to sphere.app.sphere.finance, currently our treasury gains, and that is like the low estimate, right, is $694,416 right now. But when people sell, they're paying a higher tax, right? And that higher tax goes into the protocol and generates even more money.
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually good. Like when people see, when there's a correction with Sphere, people shouldn't be afraid of the price correction, because that basically means we are earning more money. So guys, if you believe in the vision and we are fixing the problems of all these different projects by actually providing unique utilities, right, to Sphere that hasn't been part of this entire ecosystem before, and we're creating money where no money has been made, and we're bringing money to the people, right? We are defining how crypto works, right? We are redefining it. We're improving upon it. Like I said, we took Ohm's model, improved upon it. We added a taxation system that, feasts, and that is why we call it, the pendulum, because it goes left, right, up and down, right? And that is where the treasury actually makes even more money. On top of that, of course, with the Galaxy Marketplace, we have this positive arbitrage where people can sell, and we can, take that money and make even more money with it. So many freaking different ways to make money.
And they all work together. That's the cool thing too. It's not like
It's
here's
the
one
thing, yeah.
avenue and then here's one avenue, but like this avenue also complements this avenue that makes this it's like this crazy system that it all creates profit together. It's not just a single bridge.
Yeah, that is like the beautiful part, right? And people are saying, don't drop the price on pop. It makes no sense. It's not in our best interest to drop the price because of market perception. What we are saying is people shouldn't be scared. Like, for example, at Olympus, when the price went down, there was actual no dividend for the protocol, to benefit of that volatility. And it's barely a thing in crypto, right? But with Sphere, the volatility is actually the lifeblood of, treasury gains. It's not the only thing that we actually make treasury gains with, since we have built so many different utility items around Sphere and the entire ecosystem, but it's a positive way to make even more liquidity for the ecosystem of Sphere and to build new and more projects, right? And and have more money in the treasury. Of course, we want it to go up because it's always a healthy way to see, okay, we are making money, and even when the price goes down, which is unique to Spheres, we are still making money. And basically, the one holding are going to have, thanks to the dynamic APY, even a higher APY, because the treasury has then to be split on less people, and therefore less people are making more money, right? So it's both, going up and down is going to be benefiting our protocol. And during that time, we are building, more and more utility items, right? That is the beauty of things, and that is what makes Sphere so unique. And that is why I'm saying you can go to any other project and ask them, what investments do you actually make to help the protocol be, sustainable, and how the protocol makes money. And that is like the big difference where Sphere comes in. We are building, literally, go to someone and say, we are, Sphere is building the new convex to the new curve on Polygon. That is already mind-boggling, right? And then we have the Galaxy Marketplace that is mind-boggling. Then we have the taxes that make money. That is mind-boggling. Like, people are afraid of the APY going down, but you have so many utility items where the APY actually means something, and that is like the big difference. We are making the APY actually have a meaning, and that is why we are aiming to have an APY with its actual meaning to be annually, right? We want to make the APY actually a realized thing.
Yes. And I was just pointing out that, like, the joy that you get in explaining this isn't because you're going to make a ton of money. The joy you get in it is because you're going to dominate. Like, you're in it. It's like, I feel like to you, you're playing this master game. You're creating this thing that you want to build. And you're just joyous that you're seeing this thing you're building be successful. And you're seeing where this thing's going. And you're excited about the creation of it. But it can be easily confused that that you're just trying to pump up the price or something. But I know I've talked to you enough times that you don't even care about that. In fact, it's almost the exact opposite. Like, you legitimately would rather the price like just purely go sideways right now, and because you just want to build. You don't want to have to worry about people being excited or sad if the price goes up or down. You just want to build this crazy thing to just dominate DeFi, just to show, in a sense, that you I don't know, just to create. Like, I get it as a creator, like you love building and creating. And so I guess I wanted to point that out because, some people here probably don't understand that. And I think as soon as they experience any sort of drop, they're going to be like, oh, this project's dead, because they're used to degen projects, right? And they don't understand the power of a project that's not a degen project, which is projects that are good projects. They'll experience 90% drops and then they'll walk away from it and then go up, 500, 1,000%. When I first got into Terra Luna, actually, not first got into it, but a couple months later, it dropped 50%. A lot of people left, and but from there, I don't know what I was at, maybe like $5,000, and it went down to like 2,500, and then it went up to 140,000. So it's like, price drops happen. It benefits. Terra Luna didn't benefit from that. But that benefits, well, I guess they kind of do. Anyway, but that benefits Sphere, and just, make sure you're thinking long-term, not thinking short-term. Make sure you understand the difference between the two and educate yourself. And that's not even me saying don't sell or sell. Maybe it totally makes sense for you to sell at some point. And if so, sell. Take profits, sell your rebases, all of those things. But if you're in it for like the long haul and you're seeing a drop and you're thinking that means it's over, go and educate yourself so that you understand what those drops actually mean, and look at the big picture, because it's definitely something you want to look at the big picture. It's like Bitcoin right now. A lot of people aren't putting money into Bitcoin because they're like, well, it's so big, or it's dropping or whatever. But Bitcoin is something where we could see it hit not only 100,000 but 500,000, maybe even $1 million one day. And it's a great place to put your money for stable gains, right? And so, I know Sim's a big fan of educating, and he's always talking about, I want the community to succeed. I want everyone in the community to succeed. I want to see everyone not fail. That's why he did that chart where he's showing if everyone sold, the last person still benefits. That is what he's excited about, his creation, what he's building. And so don't miss out on that because you're looking at all the wrong metrics. Because I guarantee, I cannot imagine a world where Sphere does not experience at some point a massive dip in price. It will happen at some point.
It will.
Yeah, and it's
100%.
Treasury will make a ton of money during that, and then at some point, Sphere, if what Sim's doing successful and he really builds this, it will come back and it'll go from there in 10 to 100x. You're really betting on, is this vision sound like it's a good idea? Do you think Sim can execute it? And really those two things. Does this sound like this is a good idea? Is it a big idea, and can Sim execute it? And if you believe yes, then you'll hold through those dips. If you believe no, then you'll sell out, and maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. You'll have to figure that out in the future. But yeah.
There's one thing, because I think we already, so yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's a long-term vision. We started as a degen project, but now people understand the long-term vision of Sphere. It's not a degen project. We are using the degen ways to actually, because that is the best way to garner liquidity and to make, is garner the correct word?
Yeah.
To garner liquidity, and start executing these massive projects. And people ask me if I drink. I don't drink. I don't take any drugs. I don't take anything that may cloud my judgment. Nothing. All I do is drink water, and I don't eat meat or something. I'm vegetarian as well, so I'm everything that may intoxicate me in any kind of way. I'm away from that.
The ultimate hand washer.
Yeah. The ultimate hand washer.
Clean on the outside and inside.
Yeah, cleaning the inside and outside. So yeah, no, I don't take any kind of substance. My only drug is Sphere. So yeah, no. What I want to say is one more thing is, of course, you all joined for the APY. Not all, of course not, but a few people joined for the APY. But basically, you have to understand that the APY has to mean something, and Sphere brings meaningfulness to the APY, and we are the only project that actually does it. Of course, I believe Olympus does it as well, right? So I'm putting Sphere on the same pedestal as Olympus at an all-time high. That is right. That is the first goal, to exceed what Olympus did, and I believe Olympus is already, a pretty, they have a genius team no matter what. But I believe what we can do is put a leg up. They introduced DeFi summer. We are introducing DeFi spring. We are the new generation, and everyone is coming in here is going to make a whole lot of money, hopefully, and that is the goal, right?
Like you
That
said,
is the
man,
goal.
short-term price volatility, that's just noise, Just stick to your goals.
Exactly.
And
Price,
like Jesse said, educate yourself and you'll be fine.
And I wasn't saying that to even encourage anyone to buy or not buy. I was just trying to.
Right.
I'm a big fan of just educating yourself. Somebody said, "When did Jesse become such a moon boy?" But it's I believe in Sim as a person, and so I think that's what you're seeing. Nobody can predict the future, and I've never claimed to predict the future. But I do get excited, and I do see what Sim's building, and I think, man, this could be huge. This could be amazing, and this really could be something that's life-changing for me. And so and all of you guys. And so that's what you're seeing. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I've made so many dumb investments in the past, so I would never claim to say something will or won't happen. Who knows? I don't even know if, with the way the world is right now, you really can't count on anything. I was just saying that I really do believe everyone should educate themselves and understand what they're getting into. I don't. Yeah.
100%. One more thing. I want to wrap up the AMA before we maybe take 5-6 questions or so. What V2 brings is a lot of more, improvements on the contract logic. Adding new ways to actually sustain the protocol. Like I said, logic security improvements, and of course the audits. So that is what we are doing. And of course, with a new contract comes a little bit more of new features that I don't want to say yet because of copycats. Even though they can't fork Sphere, they are gonna fork the contract and say they are Sphere forks. But like you said, We are not a fork of anything. We are our own thing, and there is not going to be any Sphere forks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the AMA so far, and yeah. Let me. There's a question. What is the ETA? And we're going to switch now to the questions. What is the ETA roughly of V2 and the end of rebasing? V2 is coming in the coming weeks. We finished. I can't say what we're going to be doing because I think scammers are going to try and do something with that. So yeah, we are pretty. The contract is done, and we are building the migration thing. But I'm not going to say how we're going to migrate yet. So next question.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through the chat here and see. Hey guys, drop any and all questions that you may have for Sphere, so that way I can get to them.
People are saying they're going to fork hand washing. I double dare you fork my hand washing skills. I'm the best hand washer in the world. Period.
I have a question. When Sphere hits $1 billion market cap, can we dedicate a small portion of the treasury to start a hand washing brand, like a hand sanitizer brand or something, in the name of Sphere, or like a
That
soap?
would be awesome. I can't say.
Now, a lot of people have been. That's actually probably a good question we could ask is about merch.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking for merch. I
Yeah.
can't say yet. It's going to be.
You know what? If you don't do it, somebody in this community knows how to do all of this. So start a Sphere hand washing brand. We want to see it.
Okay. What I can say is,
Sim soap.
yeah. So some soap.
Sphere soap.
Yeah, we are building merch, but we are building. Yeah, merch is coming in a sense, which will also help deflate the protocol where we take the earnings of that merch to burn Sphere, but I can't say what kind of merch, but people can already guess.
We got a question here by Matt. I don't know if you guys can see it. It looks like it's not showing up on my screen, but they said, "Will we be able to transfer the V2 to a ledger or any hardware wallet, really?"
We are working on a new feature in the contract. That's what I can say.
And we got a kind of a personal question here by Crypto. They said, "What is your background, Sim?"
I would advise listening to previous AMAs. My background is my bed. No, I'm just kidding. No, my background, I came from a financial/IT security standpoint. Background. So yeah, I have expertise and with banks, and I have expertise with securing companies from malicious actors. So yeah, currently also aiming to do my PhD, and hopefully doing my PhD based on Spheres with my experience on Sphere. Because the funny part is, when I bring out this doctorate of mine, and someone's going to try to correct me. I'm going to say like, "Shut up! I did this." Like they're going to say, "No, Sphere did not do this." Really, bro? Like no one is going to know who I am, right? Until then, and then I'm going to be like, "Yeah, no, you can't say I didn't do this because I did this, right?" So yeah. Dr. Sim is going to diagnose you guys in the future with Degen.
Dr. Sim.
That is the long-term goal.
If you did that on Sphere, wouldn't that dox you?
It would. So that is the thing, right? It's not done. It's not. It's not in this year and the next year. But I want to make sure everything and why we don't dox ourselves. First of all, I received death threats before, and I don't want my team to experience that. For example, Geo here, who has been very, very communicative in the same way.
Someone literally asked, "Geo, are you okay, dude?"
So I don't want Geo to be always having an open eye because of his children and his family, right? I have a woman in my life, right? I don't want to be worried about her, for example, when she goes out. I don't want to be worried because we have emotional investors. Jesse knows my identity, and Jesse knows how beautiful I am, or not beautiful, handsome, right? Because I'm an AI. Yeah, because yeah. So yeah. So that is why we don't dox ourselves publicly. But let's say, everything is set in stone, legalities and stuff like that, then 100% I would write my doctorate at one point about Sphere. I think I might even dox myself through that doctorate. So people are going to read doctorates and teach themselves some valuable lessons. And at one point, someone is going to say, "This guy is Simsala," and I'm going to be like, "Yep, good that you're starting to read." So read the coming papers, nerds. Go to university or something. Go to your online university ebook store or something where they publish doctorates, and then maybe you find one day a Sphere doctorate.
Oh, lost Geo. Sim, so we got a good, just like keeping it real question here. They said with every amazing protocol, there has to become sort of disadvantage, weakness, setback, whatever. With everything you guys have said, what is a disadvantage or just a potential setback for Sphere? So just kind of like what could be a challenge that Sphere faces?
Of course, what, for example, currently faces. So the issue that I see that may happen, of course, is first of all you lose the market's attention, right? The span goes away, people sell stuff like that, and then you just keep working, but it's the acceleration of growth is going to go down at one point, right? We are not going to be DeFi's, lover for the entirety, for forever. There's a new project that is going to come that is going to take the spotlight from Sphere, right?
Mhm.
So that may be a setback in a sense that we cannot, go back to our previous hype, stuff like that. Of course, small contract risks, which is with every project. So these kind of things, maybe. Yeah, smart contract, like emission issues. For example, Solidly had that, right, with Andre, where he created Solidly, but it was in a beta, and the emissions were wrong. So that caused a setback, stuff like that, right? So you never know. Like, I don't see a reason currently where we may fail, except for maybe traction, losing traction, no volume coming in. The Treasury doesn't, stagnates in the massive growth that we have currently. But thanks to quantum liquidity as a service and stuff like that, I believe that we're going to keep going on forward. But like I said, you never know what may or may not happen in the future.
True, but even in that circumstance, like that almost seems inevitable at some point to happen. Bitcoin, like Ethereum, every major like project has gone through a period like that. But it's like a cycle, right? They go through that and then they rise higher. They go through that and rise higher, and the people that are patient make a ton of money.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
but Bitcoin doesn't bring in revenue. Ethereum, they don't bring in revenue. They're inflationary until they, fully deploy Ethereum 2.0. So you guys would be bringing in revenue the whole time, and you have the quantum liquidity, like rising price floor. So essentially, even with those things, you'd still be able to climb up in price.
100%. One more thing, anyone who has mod permissions, there are people spamming the chat. Please, kick them out. I'm not going to answer your question because you're spamming.
I'm trying to get to all of them.
anyone who spams these questions, screw you. I don't care about you. So yeah, of course there's going to be setbacks. You never know, and basically Geo's mic doesn't work.
Yeah, Geo said he's been trying to talk.
Yeah, Geo, you are in there. You can speak. Try.
I have had a few questions.
You brought me back.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
Wow,
Tim
back.
definitely had the lion's share of important things to say. I tried to talk a couple times, and I'm like, I'm like just getting ignored. But I guess this other stuff is cool, so I'll just wait. And then I finally realized, like, this thing just isn't working. So I'm not dead. I'm not a robot, probably. I confirm everything Sim has said. Jesse is the master translator, and Austin is an epic host. Okay, back on track now.
Exactly. Yeah, because a lot of people are asking, why is Jesse here? Jesse is simply translating nerd to normal. We're going to have a Google Translate feature where it's now, instead of English to German or something, it's going to be, nerd to Jesse or something like that.
I feel like some of these things you've actually explained them really, really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Crazy.
Yeah, it's been
No,
pretty good.
I was thinking. Yeah, I tried to explain like I am 5, but you can't really, you know. I don't think I can really go too much in depth with you know, without destroying the impact in a sense, right?
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
like everybody that's watching right now and that's going to see the replay, it's okay if you don't understand this the first time around. That's why it's why it's gonna be on YouTube. Take your finger or take your cursor and rewatch it 15 times if you have to really kind of get the gears turning. And we're gonna be dropping short little videos on the Sphere YouTube channel as well, just to kind of short little snippets. That way, it's kind of like easily digestible, so you don't have to watch the whole AMA if you don't want to. But either way, it's okay if you feel overwhelmed or if you don't understand this immediately, because I promise I didn't
100%.
either.
I worked on this for months. Yeah, of course, you know. Yeah, basically what I can say is Sphere's aiming to not care about the goal of Sphere is to actually be based on revenue of the treasury. So we don't care, or quote unquote, we don't care about the investors' money in a sense that we don't care about, you know, we don't want to be this, we want to become basically a reverse Ponzi, right? Where you come in to actually Ponzi on the on the treasury, right? Because the treasury is going to pay you instead of the other way around, right? That is like the goal. You hold basically, if someone says it's a Ponzi, you could also, you know, argue that Bitcoin is a Ponzi because someone is holding at 40,000 and hopes it goes to a million and then sell it, right? So there's always a sucker down the line that is going to hold the token and, you know, it's going to hold uh, the bag at the end. But basically, with Sphere, we want to reverse that. You guys are, of course, making money, but the very last one who's going to join Sphere is going to have the entire treasure at his legs, right? So that is like the crazy thing. We all are building this massive giga treasury, and basically the last one that comes, I think we may not be alive when that happens if Sphere keeps growing, 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 right? And you know other people are going to take over Sphere because you know who knows. You know the last person in let's say 100 years or so is going to be holding the last Sphere, and he's going to get the cumulative amount of money that you have made of over all these years, right? That is like my massive dream that I want to build a project that is going to be paying itself for a long, long, long period of time.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was a great AMA. I think there was a ton of information without just constantly dropping bombs left and right, where I felt like I was getting sensitized to being freaked out. But I think this was great. What do you guys think? What do you think, Jesse?
I think this has been awesome. And yeah, I mean, I had heard all these. I've heard most of these things yesterday when we did the rehearsal. Which, by the way, the rehearsal was basically Sim explaining the things so that we had time to just slow down and really understand exactly what he was talking about, because some of it was pretty complex. Even for me, like I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of DeFi, and it took me a second to understand some of the concepts of what he was saying. But there was some stuff that I heard for the first time today, and it was really interesting to hear some of those things. And yeah, it's been a great AMA, and I'm really excited to hear where it goes from here. I'm really excited for these things to roll out, and I know I've already joined the Penrose Discord, and you know, seeing that start to form, and you've sent me a couple like, you know, UI shots of like the website and stuff like that, which is shout out to Evan there dominating with that. But
Man, it's crazy. One thing I wanted to say, sorry. People said, what is the last holder is going to hold Sphere at a very, very low price, right? But you guys don't understand, right? That the idea is that you don't care about Sphere's price then because you're going to have the entire treasury. So now no matter what the price of Sphere is going to be, you're going to be holding the entire treasury. So yeah, I would buy Sphere. You know, I would hold Sphere at $1,000 and it goes down to $1 because right now Sphere's treasury is at 20 million, right?
There you go.
So yeah, that is what I'm aiming for, right? So yeah. Yes, sir. We hit a new all-time high, I guess. You know,
Almost
the
11 cents,
AMA was
baby.
quite successful. Almost 11 cents, baby. So yeah, guys, you know, we want to start a movement. You guys, everyone of you, you know, I know you guys are invested, and I want you guys to educate yourselves, and that is the most important thing. I don't really care, if you guys are a holder of Sphere right now or not. This is a personal thing from me to you. You go to a project that you invest in, and you ask them what is the problem they want to solve in the crypto space, and how they want to monetize that is unique and tailored to their protocol. And that is how you actually, can this. I don't know how it's called in English, but the weed from the. You can separate the weed from the. How's it called, guys? Help me. You guys are English.
It's the wheat,
how-
the wheat from the tares.
Or the wheat from the
Exactly.
chaff. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is how you actually know, okay, this protocol is actually useful. You go to your favorite investment and you ask them, right now we are sort of relying on investors' money, but what is the long-term vision? Where do you guys see yourself in 10 years or so, or in 5 years, and how do you want to sustain the protocol's longevity? A lot of people are writing separate the wheat from the chaff. I appreciate each and every one of you guys a lot. Like literally literally the entire chat, suddenly like I saw 100 messages at once. So yeah, guys, that is, please keep that in mind. You go to a project, you want to partake into it, you're very welcome to do so. It doesn't, you don't have to be a Sphere investor. You go to this project and you ask them, what are you trying to solve? How is this project going to be unique and not like any other project? And how does that project is going to make a revenue stream on that innovation of yours? We can say we are introducing quantum liquidity as a service. We are bringing a curve to Polygon with our own how's it called, a twist. We are bringing Penrose that is convex, stuff like that. We are helping Tattoo become this big project, more on what Tattoo is aiming to do soon. So we are building actually unique utility around the system, and that is how we're actually going to make money, and that is how Sphere is going to make money. So you go to these projects, and then you can evaluate, okay, are they doing the same thing? Are they even better? Who knows? Like, I'm not saying we are the best project out there, but I for sure know we are building, right? And we're building something unique, and we are making money with that for you guys. That is what I want to say. And the last thing, so yeah.
Yes, and a lot of people was
We are
asking.
not a DGen project.
A lot of people were asking.
Yeah,
we're not a DGen project. But a lot of people were like, Austin, Jesse, are they going to recap video or anything like that? Yes, I will be doing a recap video. And then even to that, okay, we've already got some videos lined up on specifically the Sphere YouTube channel, kind of breaking down some of these at just very, very condensed levels. And just to show you guys how dope this community is, right? Look at this. One of our own community members made this, and this is how invested the Sphere team is on making sure you guys understand the education piece beside this. Look at this. Look at that.
That's rad.
That's from one of our community members, baby, and that's going to be at the beginning of every single one.
Okay, I didn't see that.
You didn't see it
up for me, but no, but it's fine.
You'll see
I heard the sound that already.
Yeah, he'll see it later. It's all right.
Yeah.
Everybody's losing their mind. All right, should we close it up? Sam?
Let's close it up.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being active in the chat.
One sec. The Sphere wiki. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, if you want to see also how good things are going, I have to give a shout out to Kato, however you want to pronounce that. He created Sphere wiki with a lot of cool information. How invested our project is, so how invested our community is. Shout out to Kato there. For doing things. So, we have so many awesome members in the community. It's amazing. And thank you for everyone who has been spreading the words of Sphere.
Absolutely. And shout out to Master Jesus. Master Jesus was the person that actually created that cool little intro there for us. So thank you for that, Master Jesus.
Cheers, Master Jesus. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for participating, all the great questions, interacting, every single comment that you guys put in the chat. It just gives that little tickle to the YouTube algorithm, so that way everybody in the entire YouTube spaces can see this. And obviously, if you jumped in at any point within this AMA, stamped on, this is when Sim talked about Perpetual APY. This is when Sim kept laughing at my jokes. This is when Sim actually talked about galaxy bonds and all that. And we will be uploading those videos soon. And then on my YouTube channel, I will be doing a recap on all of this, probably about 10, 15-minute long videos. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a great weekend.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Jesse,
everyone.
you
Bye.
said the cat, right?
See ya. No, I'm still here.